loves America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
What's up, San Diego? And happy Friday, everybody out there in America's finest city. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, taking it up to Gwen and Chris for our final day of the week. And a fun week it was. We did have Wednesday off, which was nice. As we get closer and closer to the MLB Trade Deadline. Padres last night didn't have as great of a day as Rod had. Rod apparently had a day. You know what? Good for you, Rod. Glad you had a great Thursday. Unfortunately, we could not spread Rod's mojo to the rest of the San Diego Padres with yesterday's game. Now, there's a couple of things from yesterday's game I liked, and a lot of things that I, in fact, did not like. Let's talk about the things I did not like. Yu Darvish was awful yesterday. Awful. And at one point, I had the thought pop into my head. And I love Yu Darvish. I think Yu Darvish is a great individual. I think he's a great man. I think he's had a great MLB career. And I still think he has a little bit left. And what he has done for this organization has been great. But if he wants to continue to pitch in this organization, he's going to have to get into the gear. I mean, you can't be giving up 8 earned runs in 3 1/3 innings for a team that's trying to compete for a playoff spot, a team that's trying to hold off the St. Louis Cardinals, a team that's trying to knock them out so they don't have to worry about them anymore. That is a performance you cannot have, like, at all. And look, there's a couple of things with Yu's outing. Here's what you're going to get with Yu. You're going to get, and we're talking with Ben Higgins about this as we were doing the crossover. You're going to get at least one clunker out of Yu in the season. I hope this is the clunker. You look at the other starts that Yu Darvish has had this season. They're not atrocious. They're okay, but they're more in line of a 4th and 5th starter than they are, definitely a 1, 2, or 3 starter. So you look at Yu Darvish yesterday. Again, 3 1/3 innings, 8 earned runs, 8 hits. He only had 3 strikeouts. He walked 2. And the reality is, not only are you going to get one clunker of a game out of Yu Darvish, there's usually one clunker of an inning out of Yu Darvish, and it's usually one of the first 2 innings of the particular game. So he had that. In the second inning, he gave us 6 runs in the second inning. In reality, he gave up 6 runs in 4 batters. I mean, they got a quick 2 outs in the second inning. The Cardinals' 6-run second inning that really put them over the top and put the Padres behind the 8 ball for the rest of the game came with 2 outs. Go back to that second inning. Mason Wynn grounded out, Walker singled, and then Pedro Pajes flew out to left field. You had a runner on first with 2 outs. Walks are going to kill you. And then you brought up Brendan Donovan, who was their lone all-star for St. Louis. He hits a 2-run homer. No, I was right. A 3-run homer. Hits a 3-run homer. Makes it 4-2 St. Louis. Then you followed single, double, and then Wilson Contreras homers. And it's now 7-2 Cardinals early in the game. He gets Nolan Arenado to ground out. And you know what? Good for the Padres. It lit a fire under their ass on offense. Fernando leads off with a home run. Arise, doubles. Manny, home run. You're back in it. You're down 2. Try to make a little bit more noise. The problem was you couldn't stop the bleeding throughout the game. Bottom of the 4th inning, again, with an out, and again, after a walk, you allow another run. Now you're back to being down 3 runs. Yuki Matsui comes in, gets out of the inning. Padres answer on offense, get a couple of runs back, make it 8-6. Okay, it's the 5th inning. You're only down 2 runs. That's fine. Then you were able to score again when Bryce Johnson reached on an error that scores Xander Bogaerts. You're down 1 run going to the bottom of the 5th. Things could be a lot worse when you were down 7-2. So I like the fight. I think you can like the fight out of the Padres in that particular sense. And then you magically get out of a bases-loaded jam at the bottom of the 5th. But then you couldn't score again. Wandy Peralta ends up giving up a home run to Ivan Herrera to make it a 2-run game again. It's still the 6th inning. You got 3 frames to score 2 runs, and then by that time, you've kind of run out of steam. So again, offensively for the Padres, there was a lot of things that worked out for them yesterday. It was great to see them back to hitting. It was great to seeing the top of the order hit. They jumped out early in the 1st inning. But Yu Darvish was missing all over the strike zone. I mean, all over it. And the reality is, as Ben Higgins noticed, and it's true, it was 4 guys in a row that did the Padres in the 2nd inning. It was Brendan Donovan with a homer. It was Ivan Herrera with a single. It was Alec Burleson with a double. And it was Wilson Contreras with a homer. Those 4 guys in a row. By the way, again, all with 2 outs. All with 2 outs. Now, here's the problem. Here's the problem with Yu Darvish, okay? The Padres need him right now. You can't just DFA him. That's not going to work out. You're going to pay him another $18 million a year or whatever it is. $16 million in payroll, but $18 towards the luxury tax for the next 3 years. $15 in payroll next year. $15 in payroll in 2028. You cut him. That's what you have to do. He's not going to just retire after last night. I mean, that would be the most admirable thing ever for the case of the San Diego Padres. Yu Darvish deserves better than that. I don't care how bad his start was. And here's the other thing. If you're shopping Dylan Cease to potentially get prospects back, you kind of need somebody to pitch. So the solution right now is you better hope Yu Darvish can figure it out. And I think he can. But it's not going to be vintage Yu Darvish. It's not going to be Yu Darvish like number 1 in the rotation Yu Darvish when the Padres first acquired him. It's not going to be Texas Rangers Yu Darvish. It's going to be aging 4th or 5th starter Yu Darvish. Now, I still think he's not up to speed yet. I think you can tell. A lot of his stuff is missing over the heart of the plate. He still had some good stuff yesterday with some of his pitches. So I'm not ultimately ready to just kick him to the street. But I will say it's go time for the Padres. So as much as I can point out the positives, and we're going to get to the manager's report in a little bit, which is powered by EcoWater SoCal, refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. I'm sure he said a lot of great things about Yu Darvish like they usually do. But you can't have outings like that at this point in the season. And here's the other thing that you can't have. Here's the only thing that matters now. I don't really care if they win ugly. I don't care if they lose pretty. All that matters now is wins and losses. That's all that really matters. So we could talk about the positive of the offense and, oh, look, they're starting to hit, and they put together a good night in St. Louis. Balls flying out of the ballpark, scored 7 runs. They battled back. They didn't roll over and die. Yeah, that's great for May. That ain't great for the end of July. It's playoff time. And like we've said before, if this was October, which it's not, but if this was October, nobody would care if the Padres had a valiant effort in game 1 of a series to St. Louis if they lost. It's still a loss. Right now is about wins and losses. We talked about the 42 games, right? Here are these 42 games that you have to be good in. We're 0-1 right now in these 42 games. You're going to win 60. You're going to lose 60. It's what you do in the 42. These are important games. And we'll write down the exact games that we're talking about. But these next 32 and then 10 more in September, that's where you're going to make or break. Right now, you're 0-1. So you're 60-61, thinking about the end of the year deal. It's playoff mode. But again, Padres are trying to take 3 out of 4 this weekend. That would be ideal. If they split this weekend, I think you got to take it. You'd have a 500 road trip. So as frustrating as last night was, this first segment is the get the frustrations out segment. You have to look to the next day, which is today. And you got to be willing to be like, all right, flush it. It's time to move on. Let's try to take 2 out of 3 over the weekend. At least that will get you to 500. You have a 500 road trip. There's not a lot of people that can really qualm about that. But at the same time, you got a huge stretch coming up when you return home to face the New York Mets. In terms of trade deadline stuff, we're going to keep you updated as we get information, and that's flying off the sheets today. It was flying off the papers late last night and early this morning about potential trade candidates. In fact, everybody's favorite reporter, Frank, Ken Rosenthal. There it is. All right. Everybody's favorite reporter, Ken Rosenthal, had a thing on A.J. Preller today. It was very fascinating. It was expected. I think that was an article or a column or whatever you want to call it, writing for The Athletic. More directed at the national audience more than the San Diego audience because we know what A.J. Preller is like at the trade deadline. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. And here's the deal. It's all about negotiating. I think a lot of us, at least that listen in our audience, unless you're working in real estate or making some big moves, negotiation skills are basically with your local car dealer about trying to get a couple grand off your brand new Chevy Traverse. But that's the art of the deal. And so we've seen a potential trade get leaked that was shut down by the Red Sox. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. We'll talk about the other rumors as we move on. We got a soccer game tonight, San Diego FC, in which Frank and I will be in attendance. We'll get you a preview of Cardinals and Padres for the weekend. Got some other stuff going around Major League Baseball, especially with trades. And, of course, Drake Hills will join us at the end of the show to discuss San Diego FC and some games tonight. We are just getting started. If you want to join the show today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Saw a couple of you call in, then hang up. Give us a phone call. We'll talk Padres baseball when we come back. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 10:18 on a Friday morning here in America's finest city. Braden Surprenant, Frank Marchese. This is the Braden Surprenant Show. If you haven't heard about us before, we're here each and every day from 10 to 2 on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're your midday show here in San Diego. We really appreciate you guys making our day a part of yours. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on the video on YouTube. It really helps us out. Be sure to follow us on social media. You have all the links right below you. And I only have a handful of shirts left. And again, it's first come, first serve. So I'm going to try to finish it out today. Most of the people, if you signed up for a shirt yesterday, you will be getting a shirt. If you signed up for a shirt past 7 o'clock yesterday, 7 p.m., most likely getting a shirt. If you sign up today, I had a couple left. I can't guarantee the size. I'm trying to take some of the sizes off the Google form as I run out. And that'll be what we got on that. After that, I will be having other shirts for sale once I get another order in, which takes a little bit of time, but I'm starting to ship stuff out as well. I told Frank I have 6 boxes of shirts I'm bringing to the post office today to start shipping out to friends and family in other states that have requested shirts. One of them is going to our friend in New Jersey, Frank. Joe in New Jersey is getting shirts on it because he asked for shirts 3 months ago, the first time. And I said, I'm getting new ones eventually. And when I do, I will ship you some. So some people were already on the fast track. But again, we'll try to set up a platform for you guys to get the stuff and help support our show. We really appreciate it. Again, these brown ones, this is the thicker one. We will, I don't know if we're going to make any of those either. But you might be getting some of these, and some of the sizes we ran out of the brown, you might be getting the blue. I don't think anybody's getting the pink. We ran out of the pink, but that's the latest on the shirts. And I think I've DM'd some of you guys that have asked for shirts that I ran out of brown. If you're okay to, or be open to have some of the blue ones, because I do have extras of those, and I do have black as well. We got 18 black shirts that came in also. So that's your shirt update. Let's talk a little bit about what happened earlier today on the manager's report with Mike Shildt, refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Mike Shildt joins the morning show every other week, and they do a good job of doing their best to try to get Mike Shildt to not give the same cliche answers all the time. And there's a couple of things that I thought were very important. Let's check out one of them. And it has to do with Yu Darvish. And again, he's got to be better. You can't get an outing like that last night and expect to be successful in the second half of the season. Obviously, your starting pitcher going 3 1/3 innings and allowing 8 earned runs. Probably not great. But it would be nice to get a little bit better of an outing. But here's what Mike Shildt had to say about the veteran Yu Darvish to talk us off the ledge.
You kind of nailed it. We saw some really good things. We're seeing some positives, and he was able to get the 2 strikes a couple times. The walk to Scott with 2 outs. I mean, he could still get a hit. Obviously, got one later, but that walk opened up the 6-run inning. And so, but I just saw the spin good. The fastball execution and spin with 2 strikes just wasn't there as well as he would have liked, and made some pitches that they were able to put some, have good swings on. So, Contreras' first at bat, and it's just a matter of the consistency of quality of execution, and then that's the key to all the guys, and he just was able to execute. But the times he didn't, there was some traffic, and they made him pay.
Nothing more to be said about that. Yeah. I think he's got something left. I think he can help you, but he's got to be way better than last night. And you look at Yu Darvish, and Frank put his last couple of starts in there this season. Again, I still think he's kind of ramping up right now. His first 3 have been okay. I thought his first one back was decent. He gave up the 2 runs. He was on a pitch count. And I don't know how many pitch counts he was on for those first couple starts. This was his big clunker. And you're going to get at least one big clunker out of Yu Darvish every single year. So if this is the big clunker for the rest of the year, great. I haven't seen too much improvement. He went 3 2/3 against Arizona, gave up 2 runs on 3 hits. Against Philly, he went 4 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. Against Washington, a team that's not that great, it went 5 innings, which was good to see, and gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, put you in a spot to win. And then yesterday was his worst outing of the year. And we've talked about it. 3 1/3, 8 runs. I mean, it's not going to be great. He's turning 39 next month. You're paying him till he's 42. I can't imagine him living out the remainder of his contract with the Padres. I have a feeling he's probably going to retire before then. I could see him making 2026 his last year. I really could. But we'll have to see. And I'm going to tell you right now, as much as we didn't like that outing, you're going to need him to do well in the second half, especially if you're trying to shop Dylan Cease. Now, we've heard about the rumors about potentially shopping Dylan Cease and getting, trying to get Sandy Alcantara back and everything like that. Will remain to be seen. We got 6 days to the trade deadline. There's a lot of moving parts, as pointed out by everybody's favorite reporter, Ken Rosenthal. That's our live studio audience. They don't really like when we mention his name. Let's talk about the hot and cold offense, Mike.
Yeah, we have high expectations out of that group. I mean, as you mentioned, I don't think you slid Bogey in there.
Yes, absolutely. We talked about him yesterday too. Yeah, he's been great.
Yeah, I'm sure. And it's offenses are tricky, man, because you can have and I don't want to ever alibi. I also want to create some realism about the challenges of hitting, but I don't also want to alibi it as, it's hard. We know it's okay. That's not our mentality. Our mentality is to compete and figure it out and get it done. And so, but we have had some, and again, injuries happen to every single club in this league. We've had a lot of these guys miss, and we've had some guys that, have not been as consistently good together. And, we've had guys that have been good. We recognize that. We've won games because of it. I do agree with Manny. I do feel like cumulatively, consistently, that the group of guys that you've mentioned are going to start to consistently have good at-bats and continue to do what we've done. I mean, right before the All-Star break, I felt that was happening. Right after the break in Washington, I felt like it was happening. We just, couldn't scratch enough consistently in Miami, but last night, posted 7 runs. So I do feel like it's really coming, in the last 3 weeks or so. And ultimately it's about the consistency of quality of the bat and what you're swinging at.
And man, do they need 2 more bats. They really need 2 more bats. What is Mike Shildt looking for at the deadline? Here's what he had to say on this morning's show.
I'm interested in the 26 guys we have in our clubhouse.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah. We all have our jobs to do. AJ's excellent at his. We know. I have complete confidence in him. AJ's got, it's not as easy as the vacuum that we live in at the moment. It's a now, and it's a big picture, and it's a lot of different factors that, quite honestly, never having done the job, I don't even understand all of them, so I don't pretend to try. So I've been given the real blessing of managing the club that we have, and I love the club that we have, and we're going to continue to get the most out of what we do have, and that's all we can do. And I'm excited about the group we have, and however it changes, if it changes, then so be it.
Did anybody think he was going to say anything else? Focus on 26 guys we have in the clubhouse. What else is he expected to say? I mean, could you imagine Mike Shildt like, yeah, man, we really need a catcher. These guys are just not getting the job done. Left field is atrocious. Can't be doing that.
Let's go get Juan Soto for. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. It's like, man, I could really use a pitcher. Did you guys see you yet? Did you guys see you yesterday? God, that was terrible. Could you imagine, like, Mike Shildt, for as long as he has been a Padres manager, just all of a sudden one day, just off the handle, just throws everybody under the bus. Yeah, man, if Tatis should just figure it out, dude. I don't know.
Be the greatest day for us, I'll tell you that.
You know what? No, everybody would just be like, who replaced Mike? What happened to Mike? What's going on? Everybody's jaw would drop. He just said all the talking points those local media people have been saying. Just what? Could you imagine? That would be hilarious. We have more Mike Shildt sound that we want to play. There's a couple of things that I think are important to talk about, especially with Jackson Merrill and some quality at bats, as well as kind of managing the clubhouse during the trade deadline. We're going to get to that, as well as John Denton, Cardinals MLB.com beat writer, will join us to kind of preview the remainder of this 4-game series with 3 games to go in St. Louis, leading up to a deadline that's very important for the St. Louis Cardinals as they hang around in the wild card race. Plus, Padres have to play the Cardinals again next week, so a good opportunity to talk with him. He's coming up next, as well as some more sound from Mike Shildt on the Braden Surprenant Show, Steadic's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. 10:35 on a Friday. It's a beautiful Friday. Love Fridays in San Diego. We're about to get to the very hot month of August in San Diego, which leads to probably the greatest 2 months in San Diego, September and October. You disagree with that, Frank, or do you agree with that?
I'm more like October because that's when it kind of starts to cool down a little bit more.
But it's still
these
nice,
are my
though,
worst.
yeah.
Yeah, these are my worst 2 months though.
August is
coming
the
up.
worst.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like heat.
Yep.
I'd still rather have it be August. I like August over February.
There's something wrong with you.
No, there's not, because there's actually
Mentally.
stuff going on. You have Padres baseball, you have high school you have football starting in February. You got nothing, and it's cold, and it's miserable. And when I play softball games at 10 o'clock at night, I don't even move.
Hey, listen, that's your fault for
I'm
doing
just
that.
saying, February sucks.
NASCAR
August
season
is
starts,
nice.
man.
Oh, okay.
We got to be on that this year.
You know what? You know what else is happening in August? NASCAR, Frank.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, hey, it's not bad. The weather sucks. That's why September. September's the best month in San Diego.
You know what the best part about NASCAR in August is? I can watch it from my air-conditioned house.
That's right.
That is the best part about it.
You can open the windows in San Diego. Can't do that in other states. The humidity will kill you.
Yeah. New York.
Yeah. Fun. I remember having to do August in Texas 3 times. Oh, my God. Practicing outside. I was in a tower. It was even hot. It was just hot.
Yes, it is hot on the ground. Thank you for putting me closer to the source of the hot. Thank you.
We always went like, why aren't we practicing indoors in our indoor practice facility? Well, our first games are 11 in the morning, so we have to get these guys ready. Okay. I guess that makes sense. I don't know, Gary. We're playing Stephen F. Austin. Is it really going to make a difference if we practice inside or outside when it's hotter than the sun?
Hey, listen. App State beat Michigan that one time. All right? It can happen to anyone.
That team hung 70 on Stephen F. Austin that day. 70.
I guess that day wasn't the day that was going to happen, but
have you ever been to Nacogdoches, Texas?
Bless you.
Have you ever been to Nacogdoches, Texas?
Bless you.
That's where Stephen F. Austin is Nacogdoches.
You must have an allergy.
No, that's the name of the town.
Oh,
it's a Native American name, Nacogdoches. It has a sister city in Louisiana that's kind of pronounced the same way. It's like I don't know. I'm not getting into details of Nacogdoches, but that is the hottest place I've ever been. Was Nacogdoches, Texas, where Stephen F. Austin is. We played him in club baseball when I was playing for TCU club baseball, which is just a bunch of washed up California kids and guys that weren't big enough to play D1 baseball, but thought it'd be fun to go drink and play ball on the school's dime. So we went out and played Stephen F. Austin. That was the hottest I've ever was. It's like swamp land, Texas. It looked like Duck Dynasty, Louisiana, which makes sense because it's close to the Texas-Louisiana border. I didn't realize there were parts of Texas that were swampy like that, but there are.
Probably
East Texas is hotter than the sun.
Oh, you mean
it's swampy?
Oh, you mean the part of Texas that's near Louisiana that's known for being swampy? Louisiana. Got it. Yeah.
You didn't know that.
Who'd have thought?
Texas.
You put 2 and 2 together.
Rough.
Like I didn't think that West Texas would be
was
swampy.
like 100 degrees and the heat was coming from the ground. And I was like, this place is miserable. And I was like, we're playing a double header. Do you mind anybody mind if I don't play the next game? And then I go up there, dude. And like, again, I'm a washed up high school. I haven't played baseball at that point for like 3 years. I hadn't played baseball. I've been playing softball most of my life at that point. I haven't played baseball in 3 years. And my first at bat is against a kid for Stephen F. Austin that had a 1.5 GPA. So he started to play for the club teams. He got kicked off the other team. He's throwing 92 and he has no idea where it's going. Just like mid to low 90s. Just I walked on 4 pitches. I mean, it's like anywhere near the zone. It was hotter than you know what. And I was just like, this sucks, dude. It's so hot here. We went on the drive back. We went to Whataburger. Whataburger has a 48-ounce drink.
That didn't last long, I'm assuming.
We ate at Whataburger. It was air conditioned. I consumed 2 48-ounce Powerades.
Attaboy.
Didn't have to go to the bathroom once.
Attaboy.
Just soaked it all up in my body. I was so dehydrated. It was so hot out there.
There have been a couple of times where I've been at hotels and you feel the sliding glass doors open and you just feel that heat come washing in.
That's like going to Mexico.
And wait, you expect me to go outside right now? I don't think so.
It's like going to Mexico and like Cancun and like really any other place that's tropical and humid. You open up the sliding door and your mirrors all fog up like you just took a shower.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's a level of hot that I'm glad we don't have to deal with in San Diego.
No kidding, huh?
But to go back to it, September, October is the best months. Let's talk a little bit about, since we have a little bit of time before John Denton joins us. Not to be confused with John Denver, West Virginia.
Because Denton and Denver are spelled exactly the same.
It's close.
You're
John Denton, John Denver. It's pretty close.
Yeah,
it's pretty close. Anyway, let's get to the last couple of things from Mike Shildt that you could hear every other Friday on the Manager's Report, refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Here's what happened earlier today on the Manager's Report with Mike Shildt, refreshed by EcoWater SoCal, talking about managing the clubhouse during the trade deadline.
I think we got guys with our head on their shoulders and are professional. And, I'm sure you just kind of encourage guys and make sure they know, hey, man, we're here together and let's go play baseball, and these guys, I would like to think, know if they got something on their hearts that are really bothering them that, they need to get off, that they feel comfortable and confident that'll be heard and valued. So, anyway, it's you just try to continue to create that environment that says, hey, let's go play baseball and let's enjoy each other and focus on what we can control, and that's today's game.
Expected. What has he seen lately from Jackson Merrill?
Yeah, it's you should love it. I get the privilege to. Everybody gets to see him. How Jackson plays is basically who Jackson is. So people do get to, and people, fans are smart. They know, and they can tell if a guy's genuine with his play and his actions and also his words. And Jackson's just that. He's a very authentic young man that has a deep care and a concern for competition and the team and all those things. And so, whenever guys struggle similar to the offense, you realize it's just gonna happen. I always feel like, not to get too philosophical, but I always feel like, baseball is a microcosm of life. And I don't know about your lives, but they're not always in a straight line. They can get messy and hard and challenging and frustrating, and you go ups and downs, and ultimately it's how you handle all those different things. Jackson's had a great support system through it, but ultimately Jackson's the one that pulls himself up from his bootstraps and says, you know what, I'm going to keep moving forward, because he knows he's a good player, and that's not conceited. That's just an inner confidence that's real, and he knows that, we know that. So you just ride it out. Sometimes you got to ride out life, and that's what he did. And he got back to having some balls fall and getting back to his talent coming out. But he's a real treasure to work with and a blessing to manage.
That was Mike Shildt talking about Jackson Merrill and what he's seen out of Jackson Merrill recently as he joined our morning show, Ben and Woods, earlier this morning as part of our Manager's Report that is refreshed by EcoWater SoCal. Now, joining me on the Braden Surprenant Show, MLB.com beat writer who covers the St. Louis Cardinals, John Denton. John, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
Oh, it's going great so far. Going great. It's nice and steamy and hot here in St. Louis, so it should be another hot one tonight.
We were just talking about that, John, about the weather here in San Diego and how it's never steamy, but it does get a little hot here, just not as hot as it does in St. Louis. Let's talk about the Cardinals for a second. Obviously, last night, bats came alive, but, another, starting rotation issues, not only for the Padres last night, Yu Darvish, but Sonny Gray. What can you tell us about the starting rotation for the Cardinals and how they might address that going into the deadline?
Yeah, that was very troubling to see. You know, this team has really struggled with their starting pitching. Really, before the All-Star break, they went through a 4-8 clip right before the All-Star break, and they came out of the break and just got manhandled 3 straight at Arizona. You go to Colorado, and they think they're gonna, clean up on the Rockies. They win the first one, and then just get their doors blown off in the next 2. They played from behind every one of these games. First 6 of the All-Star break, they were behind, and then last night, Padres jump on them 2-0, and it looks like it's going to be another long night for the Cardinals. But the bats did come alive, and the manager ripped them pretty good after losing to Colorado, getting shut out by Colorado on Wednesday. So the Cardinals bats did respond last night.
We're talking with John Denton, who's the Cardinals beat writer for MLB.com. John, let's talk about the Cardinals in general for the upcoming trade deadline in 6 days. During the offseason, and really the last couple of years since you've really joined MLB.com as the Cardinals beat writer, it seemed like they were going to go into this rebuild phase. They didn't seem like they wanted to add too much over the offseason. They were looking for a trade for Nolan Arenado. They obviously have a lot better record than maybe they were expecting, and they're right there in the thick of the wild card race. How do you think these next 6 days are going to go for the Cardinals? Are they going to continue maybe with their plan of trying to build for the future, or do you think they might be in a situation where they might make a run at this thing, not being too far out and making some buys at the trade deadline?
Yeah, this season was supposed to be about development. It was supposed to be what they tabbed as a reset. Expectations were really low, and this team, you see it a lot of times. Expectations go down, and the team kind of has a we'll show you mentality. Cardinals played really well. They've been one of the best feel-good stories of the season. These young guys, they're never out of games. I think they have 26 9 wins now. That's 5th in the league. Really defied all logic. They were 9 games over 500 going into July, and then the bottom fell out. They got swept 3 in a row at Pittsburgh. Didn't score a run that whole series, and then kind of lost 2 out of 3 to the Cubs, and then the free fall has begun. So I think they never expected to be in this position. I think they're going to be a seller at the deadline. I know that doesn't make people in St. Louis happy. If they continue to play well against the Padres, they could get closer in this thing. But I still think that management and ownership here, they want to reset this thing. It's been the worst attendance probably in 30 years here. They took a haircut on their TV deal, so revenues are down. I think they're going to sell. I think their bullpen is where they're the best. Ryan Helsley is going to command a good haul. Phil Maton has quietly been one of the best setup men in baseball, and even JoJo Romero could be a guy that teams look at. Padre fans got to look at him last night. He came in and had electric stuff against lefties last night, and Steven Matz is one more. So those 4 guys in the bullpen, I really think that a lot of teams are going to be calling, trying to get bullpen help. The Padres are one of the best bullpens in baseball, but there's a lot of teams out there that could use bullpen help.
Talking with John Denton, Cardinals beat writer for MLB.com. John, you went to my next question. I was going to ask about potential trade candidates for the St. Louis Cardinals. It sounds like, the bullpen might be available as mentioned. Anybody else that might stick out as somebody the Cardinals might part ways with, or are there a couple players that might be off limits for the St. Louis Cardinals?
Well, they are going to look at, they're going to ask Nolan Arenado again if he still wants to be here. And Nolan has said all season that he's had a blast. He didn't expect this team to be in it. They're in it. So Nolan's desperate to play for a championship. He's 13 years into the league. He's won 1 playoff game in 13 years. He wants to play for a contender. And, right now the Astros don't have a third baseman. The Dodgers need a third baseman. The Yankees need a third baseman. The Phillies probably could use an upgrade at third base. There's a lot of teams, who need a third baseman. But if you look at Nolan's numbers, like offensively, he's just really fallen off. He's a below league average player right now offensively. Defensively, he's gotten back to playing the Gold Glove defense that everybody got to see those first 8 years in Colorado, the first 2 years in St. Louis. But offensively, his bat is really lagging. So it will be interesting to see if some team such as the Yankees or the Dodgers or the Phillies or one of those teams desperate to win, if they gamble on Nolan Arenado and see if, maybe that could breathe life back into his career.
John, a couple other things for you here. Let's talk a little bit about the starting pitching matchup tonight. Nick Pivetta, Miles Mikolas. Miles Mikolas, a former Padres farmhand that has really made himself known in a Cardinals uniform. Not necessarily having the greatest of years. 5-7 record with a 5.20 ERA. What has been the story of Miles Mikolas in 2025?
Miles bought a boat over the winter, and he started to name the boat Too Many Strikes because he throws too many strikes. I was looking at a stat a few minutes ago. I think he's like 6th in the league in most, over the plate. Even when he gets ahead in counts, he gets 0-2 on guys, and he throws the ball right down the middle. And when he misses, it's always right down the middle. Miles is one of those guys who, he doesn't walk anybody, but he throws too many strikes. And, his velocity has gone from 94, 95 to 92, 91. And, major league hitters are going to pound the ball. And, I think he gave up 18 home runs the last 2 years with 2 strikes. And it's been a problem again this year. When he misses, he usually misses right down the middle, and other teams pound the ball. So this is the last year of Miles' contract. He has a no-trade clause. He has no desire to leave St. Louis, but it's really been a rough last 3 years. He was a 2-time All-Star. He last was an All-Star in 23, but these last 3 years have been rough.
Last thing for you, John. I mean, obviously, the St. Louis Cardinals have wanted to, as you mentioned earlier in this interview, kind of build for the future and build with the youth. Who are some of the players that the Cardinals really want to build around in their lineup?
Yeah, Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker are 2 of those guys. Mason Wynn is one of the best defensive shortstops in all of baseball. I think he's 2nd in the league and outs above average. He has a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that he can throw from shortstop. Jordan Walker looks like he was created in a lab. He's 6'6", 250. His father went to MIT. His mother went to Harvard. He looks like he should be a superstar, but it just hasn't happened yet. He's had 3 years of up and down. So those are 2 guys that, they're really, really counting on. Nolan Gorman, a kid from Phoenix who was a first-round draft pick, has come on and gotten better this year, but it's also the 3rd straight year that his back has gone out and given him problems. So they need to get those 3 guys going. The number 1 prospect in the organization is a second baseman, which makes you wonder if this team, as crazy as it sounds, they could shop Brendan Donovan at the trade deadline because he's their 1 All-Star. He had a great game against the Padres last night, but he could possibly be on the block because their number 1 prospect is probably going to be here by August or September.
It's good information to pass along, John. We really appreciate it. Try to stay as cool as possible for the next 3 days with the Padres in town. Thanks again for joining us. Continue the great work.
Thanks so much. I always tell everybody the easiest job in America is weatherman in San Diego.
That's right. Sunny and 75 more times than not. Really appreciate the time, John. Thank you very much. It's John Denton, Cardinals beat writer for MLB.com. A lot of moves are continuing to move around, and a lot of interest has continued to move around for the Padres and other potential fits. We saw this earlier about Ramon Laureano drawing heavy interest from the Padres. Market being a little bit hotter for the O's bats, Cedric Mullins and Ryan O'Hearn. But there was a trade already today, and maybe the Yankees have found their 3rd baseman, Ryan McMahon. The Yankees have acquired Ryan McMahon from the Colorado Rockies. First reported by Mark Feinsand of MLB.com. The Rockies will receive pitching prospects Griffin Herring and Josh Gross from the Yankees for Ryan McMahon. So, Yankees off the list for a potential Nolan Arenado trade for the St. Louis Cardinals. I'm sure John Denton will put that out to his viewership. So, another big trade. Last night, it was Josh Naylor going to the Seattle Mariners today. So far, it's Ryan McMahon. Are these the first couple dominoes before a very busy trade deadline? Has the avalanche begun? We'll discuss when we come back. Hour number 2, Braden Surprenant Show on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. 11 a.m. is going to be our trade deadline hour for the next couple of days. Obviously not on the weekend, but for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is going to be all trade deadline stuff next week. We will have the roundtable next week. Somebody's going to have to be monitoring stuff. Like there needs to be, for this roundtable, either somebody has to have their phone out or they got to have like a tablet that just has Twitter just constantly update. Like we need something there. Because you know what I don't want to see? This is what I don't want to see. I don't want to see Adam at the window and the things go like this.
That is what you're going to see.
It happens because I don't know, because when it's here and we're on the air, obviously it's us to look at our phone. But when he's doing it at the round table, I'm like checking my watch. Is this for me or is this for Ben? Is this for Bill? Is this for, like, who is this for? I'm going to need something in front of me. I'm going to need a tablet. I'm going to need something. We're going to have one guy monitor. Or here's an even better idea. Why don't we have, you ready for this? A little college football. What if we had Adam over on the side? Like
Just
the bear when he was on
holding up big boards.
No. Like the bear from who was on Game Day. What's his name?
Okay.
That's now on Fox. He's over there giving updates.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Adam Klug for another update. Hey guys, and he's over in the corner. Oh, that'd be awesome. Like we're onto something here, Adam.
You all need a beeper. There it is.
That's true. Put a little pager on the side. Now, if we decide to do that, that means you got to get back here and run the board. So, get an extra hour of work. Potentially.
It's funny. Next week, not my week to watch the trade deadline, believe it or not.
What are you supposed to watch? What was this week's assignment for you, by the way? College football 26?
I can't tell you.
Secret?
Yeah.
I forgot you were a Navy SEAL. High intelligence.
Orf.
I don't think they do that. I don't think they do that. You're supposed to watch Little League. Oh, I got an update. Somebody DM'd me an update of a San Diego team that did well in the Little League World Series track.
Oh, there you go.
Evan Stouffer. The 16-year-olds made it to the World Series. They took the West. San Diego on the map. They are from... It's a combined team with Lemon Grove and Spring Valley. They didn't have enough kids, so they combined the teams. So seniors. So the senior Little League, Lemon Grove and, what did he say? Lemon Grove and Spring Valley combined for a senior team, and they won the West, and they're representing the Little League World Series in Easley, South Carolina, which is where the Senior League Baseball Little League World Series is. So shout out to the senior Little League All-Stars from Lemon Grove and Spring Valley, representing San Diego and the West region.
Congratulations.
Big congrats. Anyway, so let's talk about the trade deadline. Move that just happened. Ryan McMahon is now a New York Yankee. They are acquiring third baseman Ryan McMahon in a trade with the Rockies, getting a couple pitching prospects back. Rockies get Griffin Herring and Josh Groves. Those guys are now going sick. We get to go to Colorado, where our ERA is going to inflate as high as the altitude.
Win.
What is your initial reaction to the Ryan McMahon deal with the Yankees?
It's not a Eugenio Suarez.
It's not a Eugenio Suarez.
That's really it. I mean, it's also not unexpected in the way that they've done this with Colorado before with DJ LeMahieu. So the Yankees and Colorado, especially for infielders, it's a match that has been made in the past. So I would more or less expect it from the Yankees.
I feel like the Yankees at the deadline have been making moves that are just moves the last couple of years. I mean, Soto's not a deadline move, obviously, but I just feel like it's just an move by the New York Yankees.
No,
Ryan
it
McMahon's
is
solid, but like he's not, I don't know. I don't think that's a very exciting trade if I'm the New York Yankees.
No, and like Adam Paul just said in the chat, as a Yankee fan, it's not exciting. And it's not supposed to be exciting for what you're looking for. A third baseman who's now under contract for the next couple of years. You don't have to worry about going out and re-signing him. This is where you focus on starting pitching, which is what the Yankees' biggest need is, and you kind of go from there. Not every trade is going to be a big splash. You need a big splash in one area, and for the Yankees, it's starting pitching. A third baseman would have helped, and they got that. They got a third baseman who can help, which is what the Padres should be looking for when it comes to a left fielder who can help, not a blockbuster like what we saw with Josh Naylor last night.
I wouldn't really consider Josh Naylor like a blockbuster.
It's one of the bigger names. It's one of the bigger names at the deadline off the board.
It's not a blockbuster. I mean, there's not a lot. There's no superstars, I think, available.
No,
there's no big
no
target. There's a lot of good, solid Major League Baseball players. But if you're the Yankees and you're a Yankees fan like Adam Paul is, you get dangled the carrot of Eugenio Suarez, who's leading in home run categories in the National League, and you end up with Ryan McMahon, and you got to pay Ryan McMahon for the next 3 years, who's 30 years old.
That's not a cheap contract either. I think it's $17 million over the next couple of years.
He gets 15 towards the luxury tax, $12 million this year, $16 million next year, and $16 million in 2027. So take about 40% of that $12 million is what they have to pay him this year. So that's not a lot, but still 16 for next year and the year after that. It's a lot of money.
But remember, noted poverty franchise New York Yankees
with their $300 million payroll,
looking to save money.
That's right.
By going after Ryan McMahon instead of Eugenio Suarez and paying him at the end of the year.
Josh Naylor goes to Seattle last night for Brandon Garcia and Ashton Izzy. A couple of arms for Arizona. They were trying to do that. The pitching situation for Arizona has been bleak this year with a lot of injuries. They got to be playing for 2026. We were waiting for them to be really a seller at the deadline. It sounds like they are. And they confirmed that last night with the trade of Josh Naylor to the Seattle Mariners. So one less thing you have to worry about in the division. Josh Naylor is now a Mariner for the remainder of the 2025 season. I'd be curious to see if the Padres throw money at him a little bit during the offseason, but that's an offseason question. Mariners improve their offense. They get a guy like Josh Naylor, and the Diamondbacks load up on a couple of pitching arms.
Yeah, and it's a good trade. By the way, that's Brandon, Brandyn.
I saw that.
So great. Thank you for that. But
I only criticize Braden names. The only one that spells his name correctly is Braden Net.
I criticize anyone who spells their name incorrectly.
You should not work at Starbucks.
I'm an equal opportunity name insulter if you spell it wrong. But for Seattle, it's a decent move for Seattle. They get another big bat in the middle of that lineup to kind of help out Cal Raleigh with some of the heavier lifting. You're going to have to fight with Houston now, help you kind of pull away from Texas, who's on the borderline of whether or not they're in a contending position. This is a deal that honestly might have sold, that might have forced Texas to sell. If they don't think they can get anyone and they think they have better availability to ship people away, this might have been a deal that kind of puts the stamp on Texas. We can't really compete with that right now.
Yeah, it's a good move for Seattle. I like the move for the Seattle Mariners. Josh Naylor, he's got to get $4 million, probably around $4 million that you have to pay for him for the final kind of stretch. He's had a pretty decent season for the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's a good pop, bat off the bench. And the Mariners have struggled with their offense.
Sorry,
in years.
Watching the previously recorded segment on MLB Network right now. MLB trades that need to happen. Number 2, Eugenio Suarez to the Yankees.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Something tells me that's not happening anymore.
They got Luis Robert Jr. on there for a Padre. I don't mind that. We'll talk more about that later when it's more Padres related. I don't mind. I keep saying this. I don't mind the Padres taking a waiver on Luis Robert Jr., but I do mind if that is their only move that they make. But it sounds like it's not going to be the only move that they make. They're interested in Ramon Laureano. They're interested in Stephen Kwan. I mean, they made an attempt at Jarren Duran. We'll get to that in a second. But the last trade that we want to talk about involves your New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Gregory Soto, left-handed pitcher, going to the Mets from Baltimore for Wellington Aracena and Cameron Foster.
Yeah, Cameron Foster, a little bit easier to pronounce there. But this is exactly what the Mets need. They need back end of the bullpen help. There have been so many games that this bullpen has completely destroyed the Mets, especially recently. So to get a big name bullpen arm like Gregory Soto, that's a 2-time All-Star, that's a big pickup for the Mets right now.
So that is and I like, we've talked about it before. I get all the Mets updates from Frank here and Sam.
Yes, you do.
I know more about the Mets than I need to. Fair enough. Just like I know more about Washington State and Penn State football than I need to. But you know what? That's neither here nor there. You are the company you keep. And so I get to learn about a lot of my friends and coworkers' favorite sports teams. So I know about the Mets. They could use more pitching, though.
Yes.
The New York Mets.
Mm-hmm.
They could use more pitching. A lot of different rumors out there involving Dylan Cease. A lot of different rumors out there involving Jake Cronenworth, Robert Suarez selling portions, and a lot of different names being thrown around that the Padres are interested in potentially acquiring. What was the trade that A.J. Preller offered to the Red Sox in the last couple of days that got rejected, at least being reported? We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan.
Fraser Farms Market, your natural grocer since 1971 and one-stop shop for summer essentials. Now through July 22nd, USDA Choice T-Bone or Porterhouse steaks $16.99 a pound. Wild mahi-mahi fillets $8.99 a pound. Dark sweet cherries just $2 a pound. And Kettle Brand potato chips 2 for $5. Huge savings all week. Shop Fraser Farms Market in La Mesa, Oceanside, and Vista. Fraser Farms Market, a better way to shop for a better way to live.
Life can be hard sometimes. If you or someone you know is struggling emotionally, experiencing an issue with drugs or alcohol, or having a hard time, the 988 Lifeline can help. Calling can connect you, a friend, or a family member to mental health services and referrals. We don't have to face these challenges alone. Dial the 988 Lifeline today and receive support from a local counselor at no cost. That's 988.
Maxed out on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You could pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey gang, it's Woodsy. Get cash out now without touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Your home's equity is yours.
97 to the Fans coverage of the MLB Trade Deadline is brought to you by Palomar Health, champions of healthcare, champions for you. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Welcome into the Braden Surprenant Show. Live and local each and every day from 10 to 2. We are talking MLB Trade Deadline this hour. We had 3 moves that have already happened. 4 if you want to include the Giants move to get Rafael Devers. Remember, the Giants have already won the trade deadline, according to Jim Bowden. They won the trade deadline. Nobody else is going to be able to beat them by getting Rafael Devers. And that's worked out so well for them so far. Hasn't it, Frank?
Hey, they got him to play first base.
That's already
all
a
that
win.
matters.
That's already a
They
win.
got him to play first
That's
base.
right. That's right. That's right. Josh Naylor gets sent from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners. Gregory Soto gets sent from the Baltimore Orioles to the New York Mets. And Colorado sends Ryan McMahon to the New York Yankees. It was reported that the San Diego Padres, in their never-ending quest to acquire Jarren Duran, had offered the Red Sox. Again, this is a report. This is what we're getting from reports out there. That they offered the Red Sox a package including Dylan Cease, Ethan Salas, and another prospect not named Leo DeVries in exchange for Jarren Duran, which Boston quickly rejected. Let's talk about this for a second. I'm not in the realm of. All right. Here's how I'm going to phrase this. Okay, I think just in looking over the Padres at the deadline, this is I think what you have to view the Padres as. You have to view the Padres as buyers for their core players that they have under contract, and the window that they're going to be at their best, which is reality right now. Who knows how many more years this particular unit's going to be able to do that. And I'm talking about Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis and Jackson Merrill in reality. Those are the 4. Because Luis Arraez is a free agent at the end of the year. Jake Cronenworth, who's actually going to be on Gwynn and Chris today, later on today. He is in some trade rumors. I think the Padres would like to get rid of his contract if they could. It's a more affordable contract right now, but that does not mean it's going to be an affordable contract in the near future. Who knows how he's going to age? Again, you're paying him for most of his 30s. He came up late. He was a late bloomer in reality. He did go to Michigan first, so he was a college player. But that being said, your window of opportunity is relatively now and over the next couple of years. And then once you get to a spot where Bogaerts, especially Bogaerts and Manny, get to like 35, which is the next 3 years, because Manny's 33 and Xander turns 33 this year. So 34, 30. So you're looking at like 2027, maybe 2028 if you're lucky. That's kind of your window of opportunity for those prime years of Machado and Bogaerts, at least at the tail end of said prime, right?
Yeah.
Will they be productive after 2028? I think they can be, but they're not going to be what they're making, essentially. So you have to evaluate the Padres at these deadlines with, are these particular players that we're sending away help us in these 3 years, or the players that we get back help us in these 3 years? That's how you have to look at some of these trades. Now, I still think there's prospects that you should potentially never give away. And I think you have 2. And it's really 1.5, because now with Ethan Salas being a little hurt, maybe. I'm still not inclined, because he's a catcher, because he's expected to be the catcher of the future, because those guys do not grow on trees, the ones that can hit and catch very well, and they're trying to get his hitting going, and he's injured right now. I don't really want to get rid of Ethan Salas if I was in charge. So to me, DeVries and Ethan would be off limits. And then from there, you got to look at where these guys are developing in your farm system, and if they make more of an impact over the next 3 years than the players that you would potentially trade for. So from that perspective, I look at Jarren Duran. Let's just look at, does he make sense for the next 3 years? Okay? I look at Jarren Duran and I look at his contract. We've talked about this a lot because, again, it seems like a relentless pursuit for A.J. Preller to acquire Jarren Duran. Seems to be his white whale this year. And Preller usually does a good job of tracking down his white whale that he looks for every single trade deadline. So let's talk about Jarren Duran. He's not going to cost you a lot this year because he's only getting $3.75 million this season, which means 40% of that. I mean, that's almost nothing. I think Jarren Duran improves your outfield. And I think, now, I if I'm not mistaken, I saw this somewhere. I don't know for sure, but I think his club option gets wiped away if he is traded. So from that perspective, you know, you don't have to worry about the $8 million next year. He'd go into arbitration, and he's arbitration eligible until 2029. So now you're thinking about that window I mentioned with Xander Bogaerts and Manny Machado. That window was to 2027, 2028-ish. Jarren Duran definitely helps you there more than a lot of the prospects that you have below Ethan Salas and Leo DeVries. The latest report we got from Dennis Lin was an expected arrival for Leo DeVries in 2026. Obviously, that's a player that the Padres don't want to give up. Ethan Salas is going to be a little bit more time, especially with his injury that he had this year. So I look at Duran, and what that tells me is he's not going to make a ton in arbitration. He's going to be an affordable outfielder. Last season that he had is an anomaly, I think. I believe it's an anomaly. And so the more I talk about it and the more I kind of lay it out there, the more interested I am in the Padres potentially acquiring Jarren Duran because of the fact a Duran, Merrill, Tatis outfield would be solidified for the next 3.5 seasons or 3 and whatever, how many time you have left this year. You don't have to do anything with your starting outfield for those years. And even if Jarren Duran's production goes down, which it's expected to do since he's 28 years old, about to be 29, he's still not going to be worse than what he's probably going to get paid in arbitration. He's very affordable, and you don't have to worry about the outfield in the future. You would just have to acquire some fourth outfielder help. So from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense to me. Now, let's think about how much it's going to cost the Padres to acquire Jarren Duran. We heard about the Dylan Cease, Ethan Salas, and a prospect deal. I don't know if I'm willing to give up Ethan Salas for him, and the Red Sox were like, we're not interested, they want more. If you decide to trade Ethan Salas to the Red Sox, which I don't think would be smart, and you end up trading away a couple more prospects and it's this big haul for Jarren Duran, I don't think that makes sense because the whole idea is he would be affordable for the next couple of years. I don't think he's that valuable for the San Diego Padres. But it's definitely interesting from that perspective. Again, who is helping you in the next couple of years? Now, if the Padres decide to trade away Dylan Cease and they get some prospects back that maybe the Red Sox want, and you can make that swing, okay, it makes sense. But to me, it's the value of sending prospects away. I look at a lot of the depth that they have, and you don't want to just unload your depth again. But if these players are not going to help the Padres the next 3 or 4 years during your window, you'd rather have your major league organization trade away those potential players that aren't going to help you the next 3 to 4 years in order to go after somebody right now. And so from that perspective, I don't mind the Jarren Duran idea. I just don't think it's going to be worth the value of what you would have to give up in order to acquire Jarren Duran. But you know what? They keep talking to the Red Sox about him. They've been doing it for the entire offseason, into the beginning of the year, into right now. So unfortunately, Padres fans, you're going to have to keep listening about potentially having Jarren Duran on your team for the next 6 days until it doesn't happen. I see people in the chat going, well, like, Stowers is better than Duran. Yeah, I'd rather have Stowers too. But you know who else would rather have Stowers? The Miami Marlins, who don't want to get rid of him. Craig Mish of MLB.com, who covers the Marlins, has already reported multiple times that they're not going to trade Stowers. They got to build for the future with somebody else. So again, you look at potential fits for the Padres. There's a lot of them out there. There's a lot of other names out there besides Jarren Duran. But that was the trade that was rejected, apparently, at least reportedly, by the Boston Red Sox. Who are those other names? We will talk about some of the other names that are not only fits for the Padres, but some names popping up on the rumor mill. And one of them is being attracted by the Los Angeles Dodgers. We'll talk about that more when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Gotta love trade deadline time. You got all these tweets coming out there. You got all these people, all these fake insiders. And then you got our friend Judd that everybody thought was Chris Paddock. Just tweeting out nonsense on social media. Hilarious. Lots of other moves and potential rumors involving a lot of different players for the San Diego Padres. And again, like, you look at who might be available and you look at potential fits and you're looking at what AJ Preller's trying to do, and it's going to be a lot of moving parts, I think. It's going to be a sell here to buy here, sell here to buy there. And it's going to be interesting to see how they compete with everybody else. According to John Heyman, it sounds like the Mets have talked to the White Sox about Luis Robert Jr. Sounds like everybody is kicking the tires right now, waiting for another big splash to happen. Again, the trade deadline is next Thursday. So we talked about some of the moves that have already happened. The Mets acquiring Gregory Soto, the Yankees acquiring Ryan McMahon, and then last night it was Josh Naylor going to the Seattle Mariners. Padres, according to MLB Trade Rumors, and according to John Heyman, have been looking obviously for left field solutions for a while. John Heyman of the New York Post reports that they're interested, the Padres are, in Stephen Kwan of the Guardians, Luis Robert Jr. of the White Sox, and Ramon Laureano of the Orioles. Their interest in Kwan was reported earlier this week. Robert has been one of the clearest trade candidates for a while now, and he's starting to really up his production. Again, I don't mind the Padres potentially acquiring Luis Robert Jr. as long as it's not the only acquisition of the trade deadline. We talked about the Jarren Duran thing in our last segment. I don't understand. Not understand. I don't feel like he is as valuable as what it would be to go acquire him. And I think the Red Sox are, I think he's available. Like, and we were talking about this off air, Frank and I. Frank doesn't think he's going to get traded. I think he's onto something in the sense that I think the Red Sox are setting up a high price where they're willing to trade him, but they got to get a steal. They got to get like a massive haul. And from that perspective, I don't see the Padres, one, being able to, but two, I don't think they should pursue any further. I mean, AJ Preller threw out Ethan Salas for the Boston Red Sox, and they said no to that. Says like, okay, this is a different level of talent that they want. But I can't imagine that being the case. Now, other players, Ramon Laureano's another interesting piece. I think the Padres have been linked to him for the last couple of weeks or so for Baltimore. And if you look at what he's owed, again, he's owed $4 million this year, which you're going to have to pay 40% of that. So he's not going to be making a lot of money. He's going to be very cost effective. And he has a $6.5 million club option next year. And you're looking at what he's doing this year. He's not like a world beater, but he's having a pretty solid season. He's hitting .277 with 14 homers. That's better than most of the production you've got out of left field all year. Add that guy to the lineup, and it's a good, solid Major League Baseball player. He plays good defense. He can play left field. He's got a 2.5 WAR this year in his age 30 season. You have him for the rest of the age 30 season, and then you can pick up his option for next year. Pay him when he's 31 years old. His option is $6.5 million. You got an outfielder for next year. To me, that's a way cheaper move than like pursuing the Jarren Duran conversation. I like Stephen Kwan potentially with the Padres, but that's, again, a big-time target where you're going to have to give up a lot for the multiple years of control that Stephen Kwan is. And I don't know necessarily if it's worth it or not for the San Diego Padres. But, again, he's got a 3.3 WAR. He's an all-star. He's 27 years old, multiple years of control. And A.J. Preller likes to acquire talent that he can have on his team, not only for the season that they're acquiring him, but also down the road. And getting multiple years out of it, multiple runs out of these said players. So it's interesting the outfielders that the Padres have been linked to. Other potential areas. You know, we look at some of the latest on the trade rumors according to MLB.com, and the one that's on the top of the list has the conversation about the Padres potentially trading away Dylan Cease and potentially trying to get Sandy Alcantara. And if they get Sandy Alcantara, that'd be great. But at the same time, they're not going to be the only ones interested in Sandy Alcantara. It sounds like the Los Angeles Dodgers are interested in Sandy Alcantara. But that's the latest that we had in terms of report. Padres are interested in Sandy Alcantara. Open to moving Dylan Cease. It'll be interesting to see where that plays out. Eugenio Suarez, still a top target for the Mariners after the Naylor trade. You have two separate deals between the Mariners and the Diamondbacks. I think finding out that the Diamondbacks are in selling mode is great news for the Padres. But even then, we had John Denton on our show. He is the beat writer for MLB.com who covers the St. Louis Cardinals. He said they're selling. He said maybe if they do really well against the Padres this weekend, they might change their mind, but they're selling at the deadline. And so when you start looking at that path, remember that we talked about, and the 42 games that you have to worry about, it gets a little bit easier if you don't have to worry about the Arizona Diamondbacks because they are a shell of themselves. And it also gets a lot easier if one of the teams in the St. Louis Cardinals isn't trying to compete either. Go back to the teams you're competing with. Remember, we talked about it yesterday. If St. Louis is out of competition until they sell, they're not, can't say that yet. But if they're one of those teams out, you're just holding off the Giants and the Reds for the final wild card spot. So it's going to be interesting to see coming up at the trade deadline. Now, that being said, we had a couple of names that were linked to the San Diego Padres in terms of who is a good fit for the San Diego Padres. Jeff Passan had some of those names. We've seen it with Jim Bowden. We've seen it with some other experts out there around Major League Baseball. But your window to win is right now. And so, again, I think you got to trust in A.J. Preller to be able to go out there and make some moves. Now, everybody's favorite reporter, Ken Rosenthal. There it is. Had an interesting topic of discussion on A.J. Preller and how it is another important trade deadline for AJ Preller, and how he needs to be relatively bold. But at the same time, he goes on to talk about how he's always been that way. And so we, I think, are in store for a very wild trade deadline. According to Ken Rosenthal in his report from early this morning, he goes, some rival executives contend that the San Diego Padres and general manager AJ Preller needs to act with urgency at the trade deadline. Their premise is not unreasonable. Future Hall of Fame third baseman Manny Machado is still in his prime. Several top Padres pitchers are likely headed to free agency, and the defending World Series champion LA Dodgers look more vulnerable than expected. Preller always acts with urgency. He would do that if he were under contract through 2036 instead of just 2026. He also would do it if the Padres pitcher were eligible for free agency. Pitching turnover is not something Preller frets over. It's actually part of his plan, as you have seen what they have done with the pitching staff the last couple of years with AJ Preller. This is going to be a wild trade deadline, and we're going to keep you updated each and every day that we can. And hopefully there's not a lot of moves over the weekend for us to have to compile, but we'll take them. But as you slowly start to see the snowball at the top of the mountain turn into an avalanche before next Thursday, we're going to see just how clever and creative AJ Preller can be at an MLB trade deadline. And he is already talking with a lot of teams and is open to anything. I think there's going to be a ton of moves coming up. And I think the majority of the Padres moves, if I had to guess, actually will be this weekend because we're not on the air. I would be surprised if the Padres make a move at 2:01 on a Friday, just so we can't talk about it till Monday.
It's usually how it works.
That's how it works. So congrats to Gwen and Chris who get to break the news on some of that stuff. Right now, we're going to take a quick break from the MLB trade deadline and get to what's going on in the sports world that does not involve the San Diego Padres. It's our daily sports thread.
You know that group chat? The one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what do we got today? Turn your mic on.
Yeah, we have
Foul!
a mic that's off.
Foul!
He draws the foul.
Got him.
Oh, it's been a good week and a half since I've done that. That feels good to get right back on the normal run. Oh, no, I know it happens. It still doesn't make you feel less of an idiot.
Number 1.
18 years ago, when Mark Murphy gave his first financial report after taking over as president of the Green Bay Packers, the NFL revenue sharing was $138 million per team. On Wednesday, just days before Murphy retires and hands over control to incoming president Ed Policy. Okay. The Packers.
That's a name.
Yeah, that is a name.
Stick City's a place, Frank.
That's the Packers revealed that their national revenue sharing for the previous fiscal year was $432.6 million a year after the national revenue topped $400 million per team at $402.3 million for the first time. Murphy said, "I continue to be amazed by the popularity of the NFL and by the league's office ability to generate revenue. It is impressive." At what point for some of these are we giving too much money to the NFL? Because a $300 million jump in 18 years feels a little excessive.
For NFL teams making money?
Yes.
It's a product that people want. If people want the product, they're going to pay for said product. That's revenue and not profit. There's a difference.
No, I get it. But
that's before all their expenses and everything. But yes, you get what you get what you're worth in the market out there. And NFL teams draw a lot of revenue. People pay for the stuff to watch the NFL. They pay for the red zone. They pay for Sunday ticket. They pay for the jerseys. They're all about it. Do you want people to stop watching them?
Yeah,
They
honestly.
stop watching the NFL?
Stop watching the NFL, please, for the love of it all. This way I don't have to see.
They make too much money?
No. Well, we had a perfect example of it yesterday. What was the trending video from the NFL yesterday?
The trending video for the NFL? I don't know. There was a lot.
Aaron Rodgers throwing a pick in training camp.
People love it.
Really?
They consume it.
Once again.
I got a friend that as soon as the Cowboys start up, he is listening to Cowboys podcast every single day, telling him the exact same thing over and over again.
Brother needs to go to a facility.
I got friends that watch all 22 film to get locked in for the season. I'm telling you. Football and the National Football League is king in the United States. I'm not surprised by those numbers. People are going to spend money on the league. I mean, there's people that spend instead of going on vacations, they just get season tickets to NFL games. I mean, hey, to each their own.
Your friends need help if they're listening to NFL podcasts right now.
Number 2.
Italian assist for Luka Doncic months before opening night. Marcus Smart credited Doncic for recruiting him to Los Angeles at his introductory news conference with the Lakers on Tuesday. When you get a guy like Luka calling, checking on you, trying to see where you're at, to see if you want to come and join something special that he's trying to cook up over here, for him to say that he can really use my help means a lot. Said Marcus Smart. Smart cleared waivers after reaching a buyout agreement with the Washington Wizards just a couple days ago. We hear about it all the time with like the prestige of the New York Yankees. You want to wear the pinstripes. For the NBA, it's you want to wear that gold and purple for the Lakers. I thought that the Lakers were a team that, again, had that mystique, had that prowess, that you just wanted to play for them. You didn't really need to be recruited by them. It's like, where has that mystique for the Los Angeles Lakers gone?
They haven't been really good for the last handful of years.
But still, it's the Lakers. The Yankees haven't been to a World Series in 16 years.
It's just...
last year, but you know what I meant. They haven't won a World Series in 16 years.
It's recency bias, right? I mean, we talked about it with college football. Now, these guys don't. The Lakers have won in a lot of these players' lifetimes, but we talked about the college football, right? Like USC is not getting the same athlete they used to get because everybody here growing up now wants to go to Oregon because Oregon had cool uniforms and outplayed USC, and USC had all the sanctions, and most people, or should I say most kids playing right now, had no idea USC was this insane powerhouse. In fact,
but in that case, you're dealing with kids. You're not dealing with adults who have seen the Yankees and what it meant to be a Yankee, what it meant to be a Laker.
The Lakers have been kind of a circus the last handful of years. So even though their logo is that iconic logo, there's not a lot of teams that want to go play for a circus. And LeBron is a circus. Like, you're signing up to play with LeBron. We already see how crazy that is with just the way the Lakers run their organization and fire their coaches all the time when LeBron doesn't get along with them. And, he's the one being the general manager, and who knows if you get sent elsewhere. I mean, they've been a circus. So I can understand why they would need a little convincing to go sign and join the three-ring circus in Los Angeles.
This is interesting. This is going to be our number 3.
Number 3.
Just broke, for those of you who got an ESPN alert just a second ago, at least 100 players from roughly half of the NFL's 32 teams face fines and possible suspension for allegedly selling their allocated tickets to this past year's Super Bowl above face value in violation with the league policy. Under an agreement between the league and the NFL Players Association, which we all know is a very reputable source right now.
Yeah.
Players who violated the rule will be fined 1.5 times the face value of the ticket and lose their allocated tickets for next year's Super Bowl. If they are playing in the game, the players will have a chance to purchase the seats. First of all, why are you selling Super Bowl tickets? Why are you getting Super Bowl tickets if you plan on selling them, number one? And number two, why are you trying to be cute and sell them over face value?
Well, you get allocated tickets. These are this is for the Chiefs and Eagles last year?
I guess so. It says roughly at least 100 players from roughly half of the NFL's 32 teams.
All right, so I guess they get allocated tickets to the Super Bowl. All right, so they saw it as a opportunity to flip tickets, which is a violation, and all the free tickets you get, you can't sell them aside from the morals on that particular deal. But that was the case when I used to get tickets from TCU football when I was working for the team. It's like it signed a thing saying you will not sell these. You will not sell these tickets. These are your free allotment tickets. This is not a opportunity to get rich quick scheme. I just find it insane that 100 players that all make really good money, even if they're making league minimum, they're making great money,
are trying to
flip tickets. I can't believe it. And here's the thing. This is why it takes a select few, in this case 100, to ruin something for everybody else that might just use the tickets. Now the NFL is like, well, why are we giving players tickets? They could buy them. If they're just going to sell them anyway and try to flip them, here are the tickets for a price. You have to pay for said tickets now. And then they're gonna bitch, moan, and complain like, oh, it's unfair. I gotta buy tickets. Well, play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. It was so dumb.
And again, want to see the list. I want to see.
I'd love to see.
I want to see. You know what? Better yet, post the list to the teams only. Just like, these are the guys that ruined it for all of you.
Yes.
At least it's not a violent sport where people can take out anger on each other.
Oh yeah. Come on, man. What are we? Never ceases to amaze me. Never ceases to amaze me. When we come back, got some more trouble brewing between Major League Baseball and the Players Association. We'll talk about that as we start a noon lunchtime hour.
It's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the gas lamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
So much going on when it comes to the MLB Trade Deadline. Talking about what the Padres could maybe acquire, what the Padres could potentially trade away. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. We got a report about 45 minutes ago on SI.com about the Dodgers being linked to two-time National League All-Star starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara ahead of the July 31st trade deadline. He has spent the last 7 seasons with Miami after the St. Louis Cardinals traded him and 3 other prospects for left fielder Marcell Ozuna in the 2017 offseason. Marlins Rookie of the Year in 2018, most valuable player in 2021 and 2022. And had posted a career-best 2.28 ERA and ranked 4th in the National League with career-high 207 strikeouts across 32 starts in 2022 and won the NL Cy Young Award that season, but went to log a 4.14 ERA the following season. Sounds like the Dodgers are interested in him, which is interesting in the sense that aren't they supposed to be getting a bunch of guys back, Frank?
Yeah, reports are that they're supposed to be getting Snell back. They're supposed to be getting Sasaki back, which, by the way, my mom's prediction's running out of time. Yeah, they're supposed to be getting a bunch of guys back.
Aren't they supposed to be getting a lot of these pitchers back? Like, you wouldn't go trade for this guy when you lose Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates, unless you're going to move one of those guys to the bullpen. Are you going to move Sasaki to the bullpen?
It's almost like the Dodgers are a meat grinder for arms that just you can't figure it out.
Dustin May, isn't he fried again? Tony Gonsolin, isn't he supposed to come back? I mean, I can't keep track with all of their arm injuries with guys coming back. That is news that they're not getting everybody back if they're going to go get Sandy.
No, they're the Dodgers. They just get everyone.
They're just going to buy everybody,
Yeah,
and then nobody's going to play. They're just going to, he's going to go play in Oklahoma City. So, who knows? But that's interesting now that they are pursuing. I think they were anyway, but the Padres are going to have competition for a lot of these players, and that's the thing. Like, a lot of these players are attracted by a lot of other teams that you're competing with. That's another big reason why you hope the Cardinals sell at the deadline, which it sounds like they will. Arizona's going to sell at the deadline. Now you're competing with the Giants and the Reds for potential trade pieces, as well as teams at the top with the Phillies, Cubs, Brewers. Brewers usually don't buy too much. And it's going to be, again, I keep saying it's going to be interesting. It's starting to develop here slowly. Over the next couple of days with the trade deadline. While that's going on, a story from earlier this week about more trouble between the Players Association and Major League Baseball. They just cannot get along.
We are on a fast track to no baseball in 2027.
Yes. They figured it out a couple years ago, but it's getting more and more personal. Commissioner Rob Manfred's creation of the Commissioner's Ambassador Program, CAP, that's kind of funny. Is that not funny? Isn't that ironic?
No cap.
He named it CAP, like a salary cap. The Commissioner's Ambassador Program, CAP. A group of 19 respected retired MLB players has sparked tension with the Players Association. CAP members, including CC Sabathia, Jimmy Rollins, Ryan Howard, and Dexter Fowler, attend events and sometimes accompany Manfred on team visits to connect with players. The MLB Players Association believes the program is being used to push ownership-friendly narratives, particularly around salary cap-like economic reforms, which the union has historically opposed. Union leaders like Tony Clark and Bruce Meyer have publicly warned players to be cautious and criticize retired players for appearing to promote a system they never had to play under. Manfred denies using cap to influence labor relations and insists the ambassadors are there to grow the game. But many in the union view the presence of cap players now on MLB's payroll as a strategic move to sway current players' perceptions of league economics ahead of future collective bargaining. The growing rift between labor and management, amplified by prominent former players caught in the middle, is shaping up to be a major flashpoint in baseball's labor landscape. Interesting. Okay, so what is happening is Rob Manfred grabbed a bunch of players, former players, and he put them on this commissioner ambassador program. And there are a lot of respected retired players that a lot of the current players, obviously, like I said, respect. Some Hall of Famers are in there as well. And they attend events and go with Manfred to a lot of just different team visits, and they mingle with the players. The Players Association thinks they're trying to spew the propaganda of a salary cap, and this is what we want to see the league be like, and you should be like this. Is this a little far-fetched, Frank?
No.
Or do you think the Players Association is on to something? Do you think... Now, I wouldn't put it past Manfred and the owners to potentially try to finagle some information. A little Trojan horse, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what... You're going to all of a sudden believe that the disingenuous side is not doing something disingenuous to the other disingenuous side? Like, what are we doing here? Come on.
They're worried about their own players being brainwashed by other former players. I mean, at this point, they have to collectively be in unison, right?
There's no zero, -0. We have divided the amount of trust between Major League Baseball and the Players Association. We've divided it by 0. That is how little trust there is between these two sides.
The problem with the two sides here, Frank, as we get close to this drama that's going to unveil, and I don't want it to last a very long time because that's not great for us and that's not great for our baseball community here in town.
MLB The Show 28 season off and rolling.
Oh, please no. We've done that before. We've done that bit before.
I know.
I don't think enough time has passed for people to not remember said bit. But I would like to say my lineup won the first. My lineup definitely won. Scraby's lineup did not win. Anyway, let's go back to this for a second. You're starting to see, I think, the owners be in more unison than the players be in unison. Obviously, I think this is a major ploy by the ownership, Rob Manfred and company, to try to intermingle and get a divide going with the players. And here's the thing with the Players Association. Now, the guys that really have a lot of the power here, and this is just an observation from afar. I am not a former player. I do not know how the Players Association works. I don't know what their side is like. Obviously, they're all represented. Everybody in Major League Baseball has a Players Association representative for each team. They all meet as a team. They tell their representative what's going on, what they believe in. Those representatives go and kind of deal with a lot of these problems. Okay. I see more unison with the ownership groups, with revenue sharing, with salary cap, with their economic minds being together, more than I see the players divide. Now, the players divide is interesting because you have a lot of haves in money and a lot of have-nots with money in Major League Baseball. In reality, what players don't want a salary cap? The haves or the have-nots?
The big money players.
The big money guys, right? The small money guys, they just want to get paid. They want to get reasonably paid.
I can have money.
Exactly. What prevents some of those guys from getting paid a lot of the time is the overspending on some of the guys at the very, very top, like the Juan Sotos of the world. The Juan Sotos of the world want to be able to make unlimited funds. But at the same time, they don't want the ownerships to make unlimited funds. Apparently, there's a draw on the line. So you're either for unlimited funds or you're against it. You can't say the players can have unlimited funds, but we don't want the owners to have unlimited funds because we believe that in our, as observers, they make enough. Well, how much is enough for the players, right? I mean, then you're starting to draw a line somewhere, and this is why I don't get involved with these things. But it's the same thing in a lot of other markets, right? Like there's a lot of other industries. Like even if you look at our industry, the people at the very, very top are making insane amounts of money. Mm-hmm. Insane amounts of money. And the people at the very, very bottom are not making a lot of money. And so the money goes somewhere. Like everybody, there's limited funds around. And so that's in every industry. The reality is the reason why the bottom doesn't get a lot of money in Major League Baseball is because the guys at the very, very top are making insane amounts of money. It's the Juan Sotos of the world that are the reason why the bottom is not making a ton of money. Because, again, there's limited funds. It is still a business. People that own Major League Baseball teams are not in the ownership of having a fun toy. Even though I think if you run it like a fun toy, your team's going to be very good because they want to win more than they want to make money. But they still want to make money. There's money to be had and there's money to be made. Things would not exist if they didn't make money. I think people need to realize that. The reason why industries exist and why Major League Baseball exists is because there's money in it. If there's no money in it, nobody would buy it. People always say like there's not a lot of money in owning Major League franchise. There is. The money is made when you sell the team and you go up in value. It might not be a liquid assets, but still there's money to be made as owners of teams. There's money to be made in this business. Like we just mentioned with the NFL, and all the money that the Packers made in revenue. That's before expenses. So, again, the reason why the middle to bottom of players in Major League Baseball don't make a ton of money is not because the ownerships don't want to pay them money. They're giving all their money to the top echelon guys in Major League Baseball. It's another pro of a salary cap. Because then all of a sudden you cap some of the top players, and then you can spend the money on the other players to make your roster competitive. Again, it's different. Like people always get mad at me. It's like, well, you either believe in a free market or you don't. The difference is you're in an industry that's about competition. It's a competition market. You want everybody to be competitive. You can't run a professional sports league like a free market if that is the case, because you're, again, trying to make things happen. And again, there's still relatively a free market in professional sports that have salary caps because the guys at the top are still making a lot of money. It just makes the team worse because they have to not spend as much on other areas. You really have to rely on drafting and developing and everything like that. So I think it's a dirty play here. Maybe trying to infiltrate the Players Association, infiltrate the players on some of these ideas, but this is going to get messy. It just is.
It already is. And both sides are doing such a bad job at trying to win in the court of public opinion. They're both trying to play the nice guy. Meanwhile, nothing that they're doing has any genuine reaction behind it. Nothing that they are doing, whether it's negotiating, whether it's anything that gets leaked, none of it is genuine. Both sides are trying to screw the other side over. And even when they're not, they're so used to trying to see that and catch that they're thinking that they're getting screwed over. There is nothing good that is going to come out of this lockout. And unfortunately, I do think it's going to be a long time.
And the longer it is, the less interest their sport's going to be, which means, guess what? Who's not making money? Everybody.
Exactly.
So they could sit there and be, I need to get paid $800 million. I mean, it gets to a point where it's like, how much more do you need to live? How much more do you need? And that's the question that a lot of people ask about the ownership groups. But again, where's the limit of like how much you can, how many generations of wealth can you accumulate? And it's interesting that both sides are going to be so greedy that they might just in fact kill their golden goose.
They are running
missing out.
They are running full speed off the end of this cliff.
And the thing is if you kill the golden goose, guess who's, like we said before, nobody's making money. Now all of a sudden the ownership groups aren't making as much. And if they're not making as much because it's not as popular in TV contracts or whatever is that they make their money now, or people aren't going to games because they're not interested in the sport because you took a year off, their bottom line goes down, which means they're not paying as much to the players, which means they're not making as much anymore. And it almost is like they forget why they're making the money that they're making already. I think that's a major miss by both of these entities. Is the reason why they make the money is because the sport is popular and people watch said sport. It wasn't as popular way back in the day. They didn't have the same contracts. That's why they weren't making as much money. But they're willing to sacrifice potentially future years of being watched and profitable to get that extra money at the top. And again, it's for the people at the top. It's not for the majority of Major League Baseball players that are not millionaires. They're the ones that aren't going to succeed out of this. It's the ones at the very, very top of Major League Baseball.
And again, as someone just mentioned in the chat, it's not just the players and owners that are going to be hurt by this. It's the stadium employees that are going to get hurt by this, not just at the major league level, but at the minor league level as well. Because if there's no major league season, there's not going to be a minor league season either. So all of those stadium workers, all of those stadium security guards, all of those parking attendants get screwed over because you're watching millionaires fight billionaires over the split of the money.
And do you remember all the people that are technically major league employees, right? Like all the beat writers
Yeah,
aren't allowed to do
exactly.
anything, right? It affects
Kevin
a lot of people.
Dennis Lynn,
Not
AJ
Dennis.
Cassavell.
AJ Cassavell would be the only one.
Oh,
but
well.
still, all those MLB employees, MLB Network, all of those people. I mean,
John Denton.
there's a lot of other people that don't make anything close to millions of dollars that are at the misery of this.
And you can make the argument that I think it was 2004, 2005 when the NHL locked out and missed an entire season. You can make the argument that the NHL still has not recovered from that. And that was 20 years ago.
Correct. I mean, it hurts the economies of the local teams, everything like that. And
bars and restaurants
and
around
again,
the
that's
area.
why you gotta look at both sides, right? Like, and everybody just thinks I'm pro ownership side, which I'm not. But I think you have to have I think it's easy just to say, well, the players need to get everything they possibly can, and the ownerships can't. Well, you can't have it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
At what point do you draw the line in terms of they have enough, right? If the players can, if Juan Soto can get a biggest deal that he can, I mean, we're getting close to $1 billion contracts now anyway. Does that cut it off? All of a sudden it's like, maybe he shouldn't get that kind of money. I mean, at what point is the cutoff line aside from people just disliking people that have a lot of money?
And again, there's no one is saying that these big contracts are going to go away. They're going to be around. Like, you can't agree to give Juan Soto all this money, then go into a salary cap configuration and then take the money away from him and try to restructure the deal. No one's saying that's going to happen because it's not going to happen. You could theoretically, just in the same way you can the NFL, NHL, and NBA, you could give out these ridiculous contracts with absolutely no limits to them.
Yeah.
It's just going to hurt you further down the line. It's going to hurt the lesser players.
Right.
You think 7, 8, and 9, the Padre lineup are bad now?
Right.
Try signing someone to a Juan Soto deal. Watch 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 be that bad.
Correct. The Players Association, again, pretended like they cared about the bottom half of Major League Baseball. It's not true. All the powers that be are at the top. And somebody else in the chat saying the players are the product. That's the disengagement from the fact that the owners and the league is the product and the players help fill the product. Here's where the risk comes involved, right? They take all the risk and the players are the employees that put on the show. But here's the thing. They all got a lot of money, right? They can go start their own league if they really wanted to. Get away from Major League Baseball. I mean, if they are the product, why they could go to a different league. Maybe they get a bigger contract.
Worked well for Liv.
Right. Go start the own league, right? Oh, wait, but it's not. I mean, eventually, here's the thing. This is where the owners have some leverage. Eventually, there's going to be people that are willing to play baseball for X amount of dollars that might be less than some of these great players. They can walk away. It's very interesting to see. Again, it's multifaceted. It's a lot of problems, and the ones that suffer the most are unfortunately the fans. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. Settings on one sports station 97 through the Fan. It's our noon lunchtime hour on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in. Noon lunchtime hour is brought to you by the Craft Taco, both flavors in Sereno Valley and Balboa Park's Natural History Museum, open late on Fridays for Nats at Night. Kind of the last thing for the, labor negotiations. Both sides are doing what they are paid to do. The Players Association is trying to get the most money for the players. That's their job. That is Tony Clark's job. Try to get the most money for the players. That's what makes them such a great association, what a great union. Major League Baseball and the ownership, they're trying to protect their deal. They're trying to protect the MLB. And here's the thing about Major League Baseball. They understand that a lot of fans don't like players all being on one team. So you look at Major League Baseball, they have to understand that they need it, people need to understand that they need to have their bottom line. And the bottom line for Major League Baseball is people watching the sport. How many people tweeted out when the Dodgers loaded up during the offseason and had the Ohtani signing 2 years ago? How many people did you see, Frank, that said, I'm not watching baseball anymore? A lot. Wouldn't that be alarming to the owners of Major League Baseball that people are like, I'm done with this sport, I'm not going to watch?
Yeah.
That would be mightily alarming. Does that affect the players too much?
No, they still get paid.
They still get paid. They still get paid. So from the ownership perspective, again, it's going to sound like I'm pro. I'm not pro any of this. I want this to end, and they got to be able to negotiate as much as they can. But the reality is, a lot of owners in the league understand that a product in a sporting event, in a sports league, the product that has everybody on one team or two teams getting every player doesn't have drama, doesn't have eyeballs, doesn't have people watching, which means doesn't have lucrative TV deals, and you lose revenue. They're obviously trying to prevent that from happening in the long term. So the owners have to protect their assets, and the players are trying to protect their assets. They have to be able to come to a compromise to find a way to make the league competitive where they don't have the Dodgers being able to buy every single player in Major League Baseball that they want, where they can make the Pittsburgh Pirates spend money for the first time ever and not bank all of their revenue sharing. They have to put in a system that does both. And unfortunately, both sides are going to have to compromise. But you can't be the person that goes like, one entity can make as much money as they want and the other entity has to make all the sacrifice. That's never going to work. That's never going to work. It's a billionaire, millionaire narrative. That's what it is. People don't want to agree with that because they love their favorite players, and that's fine. But that's the reality of the situation. It's the reality of the situation. The sides are easy to pick because we think on paper like the players are the little guy in this particular sense. They're well compensated. Both entities are making a lot of money. Everybody that plays Major League Baseball is in the top 1% of earners in the United States. But they collectively have to find a way to make the league competitive because that's what drives revenue in the league is competitiveness. And in order to do that, both sides are going to have to sacrifice something. And if the ownership group is locked in on a salary cap, they're going to have to give something up that they refuse to give up. And it might have to be revenue sharing or showing their books or some of the things that they refuse to give up for the players to see. Again, the NFL's got it the best. Now, the Players Association in the NFL is not very good, but they have it the best. They have the revenue sharing. They have the cap. They have a bottom line that they have to be over. They have a minimum. And it's the most competitive, most lucrative league in the United States. And everybody has an opportunity to win. And the talent's spread among all the teams. And when you spend a lot of money on Patrick Mahomes, somewhere else on your team has to take a sacrifice if you want to be good. Or Patrick Mahomes had to take a pay cut. That's how all of these work. That's why the NFL is king. Just look at the ratings. Parity is the best. And they all have a chance at the beginning of the season. It's king. It's literally king in the United States. We just had the piece of it from Frank in the sports thread. How much money they're making. And both sides are making tons of money. And all the teams are making tons of money, and they're spending the money on their rosters because they have limits and caps. Baseball needs to get towards that point because I think a lot of people are tired of the same teams getting all the same players. The only thing that keeps baseball relatively parity is their sport is so random that you get these teams like the Dodgers that can't win in the postseason. But it gets irritating seeing the same teams be able to just buy every player where you have certain teams like the Padres having to finagle everything to make things happen. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We need to get a contestant for our Midday Sports Standoff. We'll give you an opportunity to qualify for a chance to win our grand prize, a 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, and a $100 gas card. Catch Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live, Park MGM, September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. We'll get to that when we come back. Braden Surprenant Show rolls on. Signals #1 Sports Station, 97 through the Fan. I got to start eating breakfast before the show because the lunchtime hour just kind of, I get a little hungry.
I had to stop eating breakfast before the show.
Why? Because we get a lot of free food over here?
No, because for those of you who don't know, every now and again when you get hungry,
yes,
you get a little shaky when you get a little over. So if you guys ever see me like yesterday having Skittles during the show, you know I ate. You know I ate before the show because I am shaking. Is the only reason why I would buy a $2 bag of Skittles here.
Wait a minute. When you eat before?
Yes. When I eat, so
you get
I
your
can
metabolism going.
No, if I don't eat when I wake up in the morning, I could go with the surgery and with the lingering effects from it. I can go all day without eating. It's not until I eat where then I feel like I have to eat every 15 minutes.
Okay.
So if you guys see me having Skittles during the show, you know I ate before the show. And I'm starting to feel that way now. And I really wish I hadn't have eaten.
I feel like that way when I don't eat. Maybe we should just trade spots. Skittle, though?
It's the sugar.
Oh, the sugar.
It's sugar in it that helps, that gets that feeling away.
Gotcha.
I don't like it.
Fasting
I don't like the
good.
feeling more, though.
What about coffee?
No.
You don't drink coffee?
No. This is all natural low energy right here.
This is all natural low energy. That's funny. We're gonna get to our midday sports stand-up. There's people in the chat with the question: if we were one of the most exciting teams in baseball, why don't we have a legit TV contract, selling out games every night, play single shot mixed drinks, $17.99. Let's go. Whatever. The reason why I don't have a big TV contract is your small media market.
And your last one defaulted on your contract.
Correct. There's nothing the Padres can do about their media market. San Diego's a unique media market. We've explained this multiple times. There's nowhere to expand. You have a desert to your east, you have an ocean to your west, you have an international border to your south, and you have a major city to your north. There's nowhere to go. It's never going to get bigger. I don't care if the population for San Diego gets bigger. You have a small market. It's just, they're always going to be a small market, which means you cannot get a gigantic TV contract. It's a small media market. And the thing with the parity of the National Football League is, as somebody in the chat is arguing, is not parity. What makes them, the parity is not a different team winning every single year. The parity is organizations like the Green Bay Packers, who play in Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is the same size of El Cajon, California, can win a championship, can compete for a championship. It's markets and small markets like Kansas City, who's not a big TV market either, can go out there and win a Super Bowl. They can compete with some of the biggest markets out there. That's the parity. It's not a different winner every single year. Like in baseball, you get that a decent amount of times just because baseball is a very difficult sport and it's built on failure, and there's a lot of ebbs and flows, and you're not always crowning the best team in Major League Baseball. But it gives organizations in smaller markets opportunities to win more so than others. Like if you didn't have a salary cap in the NFL, the New York teams would dominate, which, Frank would probably be on board for.
Well, it depends on which one it is.
It's the Jets. Oh, bummer.
No, even the Johnson family will screw that up somehow.
The New York Giants would win all the time. The Dallas Cowboys would probably actually win and not go 500. LA Rams would do really good. I agree with the Chargers and the Jets are probably in the same boat there, Frank. And probably screw it up somehow. Honestly, if they didn't have a salary cap, the Spanos family wouldn't be able to spend any money anyway. They don't have any money, seems like. But that's where you get the parity of the situation. In Major League Baseball, you don't have small market teams all that often being able to compete like that. So that's where you get the parity of the National Football League. Now, I don't think Major League Baseball should implement like no guaranteed contracts, no fully guaranteed contracts like the NFL. I think that's ridiculous. I think the NFL's salary should be fully guaranteed. But you know what? That's what keeps it competitive, where you can continue to move and finagle your salary cap in order to be competitive. I think a lot of people in town would like that, right? Think about if Major League Baseball didn't have guaranteed contracts. But the Padres have cut some of their players already. Like next year, 2 years from now, like they cutting Xander Bogaerts. I mean, people would be on board for that. Right? Again, you're trying to make the league competitive as possible. So, for me, like, I wouldn't mind seeing a salary cap. But that being said, I wouldn't mind seeing a salary cap that fluctuates based on the revenue. That means the ownership groups have to open up their books, which they don't want to do. You want a salary cap? Open up your revenue. Then negotiate where the salary cap's going to be. Have it fluctuate up and down with how much revenue you're making. If you really want the salary cap. I don't think they should put in a salary cap and then not show the players how much they're making. I think that would be ridiculous. That would almost be what the Players Association is saying about collusion against the players. But if I had it my way, which I don't, I have no impact on this, I would have a salary cap and a salary floor. It would fluctuate with the revenue sharing. I would make sure the players are well compensated for the playoffs, which they haven't been, by the way. Salaries don't count for the playoffs. They get X amount of, I forget what games they get in the postseason, but I'm pretty sure it's a way where like they don't want to play extra. I forget what it is. But all I know is one entity gets the first 4 games and one entity gets games 5, 6, and 7 in playoff series. They get a split of the revenue of the ticket sales. That's how the players get paid in the postseason. Their contracts don't count for the postseason. I still have fully guaranteed contracts. There's ways to do this to make the league competitive. But the problem is both sides just want what they want, and they're not willing to compromise on the other things. And when you have a good union like the Baseball Players Association is, they could dig their heels in the ground and just be like, let's just wait, which is never great for anybody. Let's get to the Midday Sports Standoff.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
I agree with Go Aztecs, by the way. I'm supposed to be solving the NCAA problems, not the Major League Baseball problems. I can only do so much at a time. And I'm glad we got clarification with our friend Carlos. Good to have you. All right, let's bring on Hector in San Diego. Come on, we need a winner today. Take me down in some sports trivia.
Hector, how you doing today, buddy?
Good. How about yourself?
Good. All right, so today's question is a product of me only having about 5 minutes to think of something. And that answer would, that question would be, there are 4 teams in Major League Baseball that have an I as the second letter of their name.
I'm sorry.
Who are they?
You came up with that in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
I with the second letter of their team name?
Yes.
Jeez. Okay.
So, Hector, you have the first one. You have the first go at it.
Tigers.
Detroit Tigers, yes.
There's 5 of these? Okay.
There's 4.
Dang.
Well, there's 4 total or 4 more?
No, there's 4 total.
4 total. All right. The San Francisco Giants. The Gigantes.
Hector, if you get this one, you guarantee yourself a tie.
Which means you win.
Give me.
We have time here,
Yeah,
so
I'm thinking.
He's going through every team name in the background.
I'm trying. Yes. The Twins.
No, it's a W. Dang it.
Yeah, I know.
Ah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're starting to think, like, in my head, I'm like, Twins, Phillies. No, that's not it. It would be the Pittsburgh Pirates. Would be one of them.
All right, Hector, you can still salvage the tie.
There's one team left. I know what it is.
So that means you have to get it.
You got to get it, Hector. You know this team. It's in the National League.
It's in the National League.
It's in your division.
Come on.
Rockies, no.
No! Foul! Foul!
Man,
Right, it's the Diamondbacks. It's the Diamondbacks. Ah! We tried, Frank. We tried. Ah!
Oh, boy.
Rockies. I'm like, no. He was like, Diamondbacks, D-back, Diamondbacks. Rockies. No!
Hector, my guy.
It was right there. I wasn't going to give him the extra hit of the division. I said National
We've
League.
only qualified one person this week, so maybe two over the last 2 weeks. So we got to get more of these.
Diamondbacks. Rockies have I in it.
They do. There is an I in Rockies.
Oh, man. Jeez.
Prolific the Great coming in hot with the Colorado Rickies.
Poor Hector, man. Oh my God, dude. Like, that's kind of a tough question. So the question was,
there are 4 Major League Baseball teams with an I as the second letter in their name.
Correct.
We got the Tigers. He came out hot with the Tigers.
He did, because that's not
Hector
one of them.
came out swinging with the Tigers. Giants, Pirates, Diamondbacks.
I understand, like, like where he was at with the Twins, because immediately the first thing that popped in my mind was Phillies, and I was like, wait a minute, there's an H there.
Third letter.
It's an H there, and then I was like, okay, Twins, third letter, and I'm like, oh, is this a trick question? It's like, do we have a lot of I's in names, like the third? And I was like, Orioles, dang it, R. And then I was like, and you know what I started doing? I did exactly what Hector's. I was like, okay, Padres, Giants. All right, I got that one banked. He said Diamondbacks like 4 times.
He did.
And then we were like, right there. And then he's like,
Rockies,
Rockies,
he said,
Rockies.
yeah, but he said Rockies loudest, so we couldn't give it to him.
Anyway.
Man. See, and this is, again, I don't come up with these questions most of the time. I surf through my several
interwebs
Instagram accounts that do these. So that was one I found. I was like, okay, fair enough. I got like 2 more seconds to think of something. So, yep, this is going to be it today.
There's a lot of good ones on there.
There are.
I saw one was like, can you name the top 10 party schools in college?
Yeah,
Nobody would be able to cheat on that. I'm telling you that right now.
I was not about to rip the NFL like an hour ago and then use an NFL trivia question, because there were plenty of those.
It's true. I will say it's hard to play in these games.
It is, yes.
Because like right here in the moment, it's way harder to think of stuff. But when I listen to the other shows and the games, I'm like screaming at the radio with answers.
Yep.
It's a lot easier. And then you get put on the spot, man. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to do.
It is.
Hard to do.
Even just, what was it, Tuesday with the colleges that are only colors.
That's very difficult.
That's something, but yeah, right. But that's something you can think of. Like you're thinking of colors and then it's, yeah. So
Blue,
we
no.
get it.
Brown, no, brown. Hey,
son of a gun.
You guys never would have got Sienna.
I'm still upset that Bowling Green was not an answer to that.
No, because it'd be it's just not. It's not just. It's a color. It's just one color.
There's a color in it.
It's not. That wasn't the question. The question was 4 universities whose school names are colors. Bowling Green is not a color. Green's a color. Bowling Green's not a color.
Crayola, can we get on that? Can we make Bowling Green a color?
If
so
Columbia
I'm
doesn't
correct?
count, Columbia Blue, then Bowling Green does not count. USD has Columbia Blue jerseys.
Crayola, get on it.
They also have Torero Blue jerseys.
Make
They'd
me
prefer
right.
it to be Torero Blue, but the baseball team calls it Lumbee for Columbia Blue. And speaking of USD, they got some new additions coming to fold. Adding another sports team and making some improvements to the campus. We'll talk about that. We'll also get you a preview of Padres and Cardinals for the weekend. And are there some trades on the horizon? What's the latest on the trade deadline? All coming up in the next hour. Plus, San Diego FC is in action tonight. Drake Hills will join us to discuss that to end our show on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show for the week. We greatly appreciate all of you guys making our day a part of yours. We greatly appreciate you guys tuning in all week. Again, I'll try to get all of the T-shirt requests. If you filled out the Google form, I have all of them on there. And I'm going to be sending out emails over the weekend with your shirt being confirmed and when you can pick it up, or if I have shipped it, whatever. So we'll deal with that all over the weekend. Again, if you want to get a show shirt, fill out the Google form. I'm running out of shirts. And then we'll establish a way to be able to get shirts later on, once we get more. So appreciate everybody that has reached out about getting shirts. We're going to get these out there for you. See them all, hopefully around all of San Diego. And there'll be other ways to be able to purchase shirts later on. But this first batch, want to get them out there as quickly as possible. So again, we really appreciate you guys doing that. If you haven't done so already, we also would love for you guys to subscribe to our YouTube page at B_SURP. It helps us out a lot. In order to get a T-shirt, you have to subscribe to the YouTube page. That's kind of the little trade-off that we're doing right now. We have 357 subscribers now. We appreciate all of you guys for doing that, trying to get up to 500 to our first threshold. And then, hopefully by the end of the year, we can get to 1,000. But we want to get to 500 before the end of the baseball season. You guys are doing a great job with that. If you haven't subscribed to the Braden Surprenant Show page, it's super easy. Go below in the description. There's a link for the Google Docs form to get a T-shirt if you would like. Again, limited first come, first serve basis. Some of you, I might run out of the brown. I have a couple extra of the blues left, and we could discuss that. But again, go right below. Follow us on social media. If you click the top link under the follow the show on all social media platforms, www.youtube.com/@B_SURP, it will pull up my YouTube page for our show. There's a button right there up top that says subscribe. If you're already subscribed, it will say subscribed with a little bell next to it. If you are not, click the subscribe button. It's totally free. We really appreciate it. And it puts our show on your YouTube app or wherever you go on YouTube right then, right there, as soon as you log on. So it's easy to find. You don't have to go searching for us, and we can be ready to go as soon as you jumped on. So we really appreciate you guys doing that. If you haven't subscribed to the 97.3 The Fan YouTube account, all of our other shows are on there as well. Hit the subscribe button, and you'll be able to see all of the 97.3 The Fan videos that are put out. I'm going to try to release some OTL and softball videos over the weekend. Got a lot of those built up that we're going to have on Braden Surprenant Show page. Some behind the scenes mic'd up stuff of us. And then as we're trying to push for a lot of our audio listening, if you're driving around in the car and you don't want to pull up the YouTube app, all of our stuff is in podcast form. I have Apple CarPlay, which is great in its own right. But the Odyssey app, you can punch it up and listen to any of our old shows. Spotify. We're on Spotify and Apple Music. Click push, bang. If you subscribe to our stuff on Spotify or Apple Music or on the Odyssey app, instead of looking for a show on Spotify, it will pop up. And then you can listen to our platform as well. We greatly appreciate you guys doing that. So if you are Spotify users or Apple Music users or Odyssey app, iHeartRadio app, any of those apps, wherever you get podcasts, all of our shows are in podcast form. Hit subscribe. It'll be right there for you, easier to access. And it helps us out a lot. If you haven't done so already, give us a like on the video below. Hit the thumbs up. It helps push out our videos to other people that might be in San Diego that don't know we exist and have a lot of Padres content for them. So all of that is great, and we really appreciate it.
I'm going to go back to something you said a moment ago about not wanting to pull up the YouTube app in the car. I don't speak for Odyssey all the time, but I think I feel pretty comfortable in saying Odyssey. We here at Odyssey do not want you
watching videos
to watch a YouTube video while you are driving. Please do not do that.
Please do not do that. I'd agree. So it's a lot easier on Spotify. Plus, like when you got the YouTube app open, it'll buffer more. It's got a load of video with the Odyssey app, and with Spotify, you don't have to worry about that. Just audio's ready to go. We'll pause.
You just have
where
to.
you're at.
You just have to worry about when the monkey posts the hour, and I'm the monkey, and I'm posting hour number 3 right now as we speak.
Yeah, so hour number 1 and hour number 2 are already on there.
They are.
Plus, you got the chaptering feature on the Odyssey app.
There's a lot of different ways you can consume this
our
content.
product. And follow us on social media at @B_SURP. All of our links to our social media pages are in the description below. On YouTube, if you're driving around and you like what you hear, you can follow our content on X at @B_SURP or at @B_SURP show. This is our show account. You can follow Frank Marchese at FMarks with a Z 324, FMARKZ 324 on X and on Instagram. All of my social media handles are the same with at @B_SURP. I totally forgot about the voice message thing, by the way. We could do that. Do we have any voice messages? Have you been added to the access of voice messages?
We had the one last week.
Voice messages from the Odyssey app?
Mm-hmm. We can do that. And
Yes.
If you do send a voice message for our show, JR will be kind enough to email us bright and early in the morning.
No, that's a different thing.
As he did.
That's a different thing. That's calling in to like them. Voice message is on the Odyssey app. Have you been trained in voice messaging?
I've left a couple voicemails in my life, but I don't.
No, like on the where you go to chaptering.
Yeah.
On your little thing over there.
Okay.
There should be like a voice message on that particular website.
I do not see that.
What's that website? What was that? I forget what I can't say it on air. I'm trying to remember the deal. But anyway, if you haven't done the Odyssey training on the voice messaging,
I won't see it.
You won't see it.
But
and
again,
so there's probably a lot of people for the last 3 months that have left us voice messages on the Odyssey app that we haven't gotten, that I totally forgot about until this moment when Rod brought it up. It's pretty easy to do. You pull up the Odyssey app.
Oh, I'm just stupid.
No, you were not informed. That's on us. But if you go to it and you click on the recently played stations, you go on 97.3 The Fan, as I show right here, there's a little button right there. It says send a voice message. And you can reach out to the show and send a voice message and we could play it on air. Once Frank does his training for the voice messaging, which I totally forgot about until right this moment. So if you left us a voice message for the last 3 months on the show,
we have a little bit of a backlog.
We might have a major backlog that we haven't gotten to yet. So hopefully the inbox is not full. Anyway, did you know about that? I can't believe I didn't tell you about that.
No, I knew the voice. I knew you could like leave a voice message. I didn't know where you could access it from, and I thought it was the same thing that JR sent us last week.
No, that's different. That's like calling the radio station.
I knew,
or like the building that nobody's here to answer it.
I knew it was a thing, but I didn't know where to access it.
Start playing them. Well, he doesn't have access
Yeah,
to
exactly.
them,
I got to get access to them first.
I have
John.
to almost download them from my particular version of the software and start sending them to Frank, which is possible. I could do that until we get the voice messaging down.
If there's
Michelle wants to leave us a fun message. Sounds great.
If there's no off-air show prep meeting, how would there be a training? Which is right. We do a lot of our show prep right here on air for you guys.
Aren't you not entertained by the show prep? Just saying. All right, let's get to this thing for USD real quick. So the USD announced it will launch a Division I women's beach volleyball team starting in spring of 2027, which my question is, why did it take so long? Making it the first D1 school in San Diego to sponsor the sport. Again, why is that taken so long for the teams in town? LMU was in the final last year. Anyway, the move expands USD's athletic offerings to 18 intercollegiate sports. The program will begin recruiting players in the fall of 2026, and a coach will be hired in advance. USD joins 17 other California schools, including UCLA and USC, and several West Coast Conference peers like Pepperdine and LMU in sponsoring beach volleyball. Athletic Director Kimmy Massey called the sport a natural fit and emphasized its alignment with USD's growing momentum in athletics and commitment to women's sports. The program is being funded in part by a San Diego-based donor, and an on-campus sand facility will be built to host games, practices, tournaments, and camps. That's pretty cool. USD President James T. Harris III cited San Diego's ideal climate and the university's strong indoor volleyball legacy, including a recent Final Four appearance and a foundation for success on the beach as well. The question is, why has it taken San Diego teams so long to put into beach volleyball? Obviously, a lot of Title IX and everything like that. USD becomes San Diego's first Division I beach volleyball program. Can USD dominate beach volleyball like they did indoor volleyball? I think the answer is yes. The fact that LMU is really good at beach volleyball tells you everything you need to know. The fact that my alma mater, TCU, won the national championship last year with a lot of California kids on their beach volleyball team is very telling. This is a sport that San Diego schools should be dominating, beach volleyball. I mean, how could you not recruit for beach volleyball in town? Just bring in a Mission Beach. Just be like, hey, look, got all these great places you can play beach volleyball year around. So good news for USD. They're building a new complex. They're going to add women's beach volleyball. But it's great. I think that's great. I think USD could be a power in that particular field. They already get a lot of girls to play for their indoor team using the beach as incentive. I mean, where would you rather play volleyball? Lincoln, Nebraska, or San Diego, California? San Diego. Think about all the great volleyball players we have here. And beach volleyball is a CIF sport now, and there's a lot of girls and boys. Boys play in the spring, and a lot of schools that have put in beach volleyball courts. I swear, like, I never knew. I mean, the first one I ever saw, I was actually in high school. La Costa Canyon had one. I know Cathedral's got a beach volleyball court. I don't know how many other schools have added beach volleyball courts to their facilities, but it's great that USD is leading the way in the charge on that. When we come back, we will get to maybe some of your voice messages, and we will also take a look at some interesting nuggets around the division that have been released for the trade deadline. One involving the Diamondbacks maybe not being as much of sellers as you think, and a couple of names that the Padres are getting phone calls about that could be sent on their way at the trade deadline. Names that we haven't mentioned yet. We'll talk about that when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97 through the Fan. All right, we got some voice messages. One from our friend Rod, which is great. We're going to get to those in just a second. We'll play them for you to give you a sense of what you could do on the Odyssey app. Download it. Leave us a message. Instead of giving us a phone call, you can leave us a message if you feel like you don't want to call into the station. Although you can. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Frank is editing some of those right now. But yes, he has to do the training in order to get some of those messages. Until then, I'll have to pull up the sheet on the page and then download them for him. Anyway. A couple of things that we saw that I think are interesting. Busser Only had this tweeted out about an hour and a half ago about the Arizona Diamondbacks. I find it very interesting. The Arizona Diamondbacks informed other teams in the past that they would probably be sellers, but even after trading Josh Naylor to Seattle, it's unclear just how far Arizona will go. If the Diamondbacks decided to go all in on selling, they obviously could reshape their organization significantly by moving free agents to be Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and, of course, Eugenio Suarez. The perceptions of other front offices in that Diamondbacks owner Ken Kendrick does not want to sell, especially with the Dodgers drifting back toward the pack in the National League West. I'm sorry. Did that just say, Frank, what I thought it said?
It sure sounded like it.
The
I didn't know.
Perception
I didn't know they slipped in the shower.
Of other front offices is that Diamondbacks owner Ken Kendrick does not want to sell, especially with the Dodgers drifting back towards the pack in the National League West. That's what's going to keep them from selling? The Dodgers stubbing their toe right now? I mean, a lot of Padres fans still think they can't catch the Dodgers. They're 4.5 games back or whatever it is now. I think it's 4.5. Might be 5.5. Anyway, it's within 6. As of Thursday night, Suarez wasn't even officially on the market. I'm sorry? The Diamondbacks, who reached the World Series in 2023 after winning just 84 games during the regular season, won their first 3 games after the All-Star break, but have subsequently lost 3 in a row. What some rival evaluators believe is that if the Diamondbacks sell, it'll be because of a nudge from the front office. Arizona has been extensively scouting other organizations in preparation for a possible sell-off. I agree with Boogie in the chat. Diamondbacks need to chill. Diamondbacks need to chill. Are we for real right now? All of a sudden, we have gotten the St. Louis Cardinals to be like, we're out, we're going to sell. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, even after selling Josh Naylor, are like, yeah, we're not that interested in selling off everybody. We still got a chance to catch the Dodgers. What? Bruh, chill. Y'all need to chill. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. We got a voice message from Rod, who's having a day, as always.
We have several voice messages here.
From a couple of days ago. Rod is from today. Again, you can leave us a voice message on the Odyssey app. Here's Rod.
Yo. Shout out 97.3. Shout out Braden Surprenant. And shout out Flacco Frank making it happen.
I like it. Thank you for the voice message, Rod. What was the other one?
We have one from Joe yesterday.
Oh, from yesterday when we asked if the Chargers stayed at the Gaylord Hotel?
Yes.
Chargers definitely stayed at the Gaylord Hotel. I saw them pass the 54 freeway, the Charger buses, last Monday. About 5 of those Charger buses.
There you go. You can be a reporter for us on the walk. On the street. Man on the street. We're going to get some man on the street stuff next on Monday.
Yeah, we're going to try.
Our guy, Hamby.
Hamby did a fantastic job down at Comic-Con. We're going to try to get a couple of commercial videos out for you guys instead of just the static screen with the music.
We almost have enough banked up where it's going to make sense. Almost.
We're getting there.
I got to post some of those OTL videos too. All right. So that was the latest on the Diamondbacks. Padres-wise, this came out earlier today too. You're going to see this a lot during the weekend. Padres-wise. Okay. It wouldn't be trade deadline season with the Padres president of baseball operations, A.J. Preller, exploring a variety of creative deals. San Diego's reportedly open offers on right-hander Dylan Cease while simultaneously showing interest in other short-term veterans to backfill his spot in the rotation. They're also getting trade inquiries on young righties Stephen Kolek and Ryan Bergert, per everybody's favorite reporter, Ken Rosenthal. Boo.
Excuse me for working and paying attention to other things.
It's supposed to be an octopus back there. Pitching prospects Henry Baez and Braden Nett, who spells his name correctly, are also among the names on which other clubs have expressed interest. I'm more inclined to trade a Dylan Cease than a Stephen Kolek or Ryan Bergert. You do eventually have to have somebody pitch for you in the future. I think Ryan Bergert has done a great job, but at the same time, everything's on the table right now for the San Diego Padres. Luis Robert Jr. is not in the starting lineup today for the White Sox, Frank. Did you see that?
That's it. He's getting traded.
Due to a tight groin.
Tight groin means traded. Yeah, it's like how EA Sports uses bruised ribs as their synonym for concussion. Same thing. Bruised groin is synonym for getting traded.
Hugging season. Was it dugout hug season? Somebody goes, no Luis Robert Jr. in the White Sox lineup with a lefty on the mound. Eye emoji. Sorry, dude. He's got a groin injury. The New York Yankees trade with the Colorado Rockies has now been official. Yankees have announced that they have acquired infielder Ryan McMahon from the Rockies in exchange for minor league pitchers Josh Groves and Griffin Herring. How much do we want to bet that they're going to... How much do we want to bet that the Padres make a move this weekend? What percentage chance do you have? What percentage chance do we have that they make a move at 201 today? It might be a higher chance.
Well, you got to think 201 is 501. Oh, no, 401 in St. Louis, which is in Missouri.
Where are you going with that?
Yep.
Where do the Chiefs play, dude? Exactly. They play in Missouri. Where do the Rams no longer play?
St. Louis.
Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri.
Facts. All right, so that's the latest on some of the trade deadline stuff for you. MLB.com finally picked up the presented trade with the Padres. Blockbuster trade proposal is what they called it. Do we call this a blockbuster trade proposal?
No.
I don't think so either. Padres, who have had reported interest in Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran for months, proposed an offer to the Red Sox for the 28-year-old Jarren Duran that would have sent starting pitcher Dylan Cease, catcher Ethan Salas, and another prospect to Boston. However, according to Sean McAdam of MassLive.com, the Red Sox quickly rejected the deal. Boston's pursuit of a prominent starting pitchers goes beyond Cease. McAdam adds that the club recently contacted the Marlins regarding right-hander Sandy Alcantara, a pitcher who interests the Padres as well. If the Padres trade Cease, they ain't going to have no pitchers. They will have, all they have was Pivetta, maybe.
If you're trading Dylan Cease, you are getting pieces
to trade for a pitcher
for someone else.
Padres are competing with the Phillies and Royals with Duran. Why are the Royals? The Royals going to trade Seth Lugo next couple of years, dude. Building for the future. Boston and Miami haven't discussed which players will be part of the return for the NL Cy Young Award winner per McAdams, so those talks appear to be in the early stages. Padres, Phillies, Royals among teams interested in Jarren Duran. I'm done. I'm not done with the Jarren Duran thing, but is Jarren Duran going to be the new Joey Gallo?
Just be done with Jarren Duran. He's not getting traded. Boston's contending. They're going to need every single bat that they can get. They are not trading Jarren Duran. It's not happening. Just be done with it.
I think they'll trade Jarren Duran for a starting pitcher.
They are not. They are not. They just got offered one.
They got a rental though. I they're interested in getting Sandy. I mean, they need pitching. If they trade away Jarren Duran, they could flip him. They could flip for prospects to acquire pitching.
They're not trading Jarren Duran.
The Padres aren't trading Robert Suarez, Jake Cronenworth, or Dylan Cease. They need him for the playoff push. All of those guys are on the table. Again, just because you're competing, I'm telling you, there's going to be more moves where teams now will take from their MLB team and flip them for prospects and then use those prospects to go get an asset that they need. The Red Sox have outfielders. What they don't have is pitching. They need pitching. It's not out of the realm of possibilities that they trade Jarren Duran. I just think they're going to ask for the world for him.
I don't think they're going to get rid of him. You will see Jarren Duran at Petco Park Friday, August 8th, Saturday, August 9th, Sunday, August 10th. You will see him there.
You're going to be
I can guarantee you.
You're going to be so pissed off when he's a Philly. That's going to be a double whammy for you.
Great.
You're going to add the Red Sox to your hatred list.
No, we got a World Series because of them. So no, I don't care. Red Sox can do whatever.
He's going to be so mad when he becomes a Philly. We're going to be so excited when we're joined by Drake Hills, who joins us next. He writes for Black Players for Change, and he was at the MLS All-Star break in Austin, Texas. We'll find out how the All-Star break went and get you ready for the game tonight against Nashville SC. And if that is the case, not only is that, if there's anything that happens with the trade deadline, we will keep you posted as we continue on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Final segment on the Braden Surprenant Show for the week, as always, our Soccer 101. And it's even better today because we have an event going on at Snapdragon Stadium. San Diego FC is hosting Nashville. Nashville's second-ranked team in the Eastern Conference. Should be a good matchup coming up tonight at Snapdragon Stadium. And to talk about it more, is Drake Hills, who is a contributing writer for Black Players for Change and just recently coming back from Austin for the MLS All-Star break. Drake, what's going on?
What's going on, Braden? Happy Friday to you, man. It was a great week. And in fact, I got a chance to even go to Austin with pretty much the entire San Diego FC MLS All-Star delegation. So to see, you had Chucky Lozano, Anders Dreyer, Yepi Teverskov, all MLS All-Stars representing San Diego FC in Austin. It was muggy. It was eventful. But it was good. It was awesome. Lots of time to see what these guys truly look like in person.
What was it like? What was the experience like? What did you get out of the San Diego FC players about the first half of the season? And what can you report back on San Diego FC as they get to start their second half after the All-Star break?
Well, it makes sense as to how creative and woven together they are on the field. How they interact off the field is just like you and I, having a beer, maybe get some tacos on a happy hour, watch some games at a local bar somewhere. Like, there's nothing uber special about these guys in terms of how they behave off the field. They're just everyday guys. They get along. Obviously, Anders Dreyer, Yepi Teverskov are Danish, so they have that cultural connection there, at least in terms of how they grew up. But, Chucky's right there with them. And, all relatively around the same age. I think Chucky's maybe a couple of years older. But they have an incredible blue-collar, down-to-earth type of camaraderie. And to see them interact with the rest of the guys, one of the highest contingents, if you will, only Vancouver Whitecaps had more MLS All-Star representation against the Liga MX All-Stars from Mexico this week in Austin. So an incredible setup, and also got a chance to see Nashville SC, who had the same amount of All-Stars as San Diego. They had Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar, who are up front playing in those striker positions, who are creating for an incredible amount of goals, but also Andy Nahar at right back. So it was a great foreshadowing to what we might see tonight at Snapdragon.
And a pretty interesting stretch for San Diego FC, Drake, with a lot of difficult opponents during this middle break of the MLS All-Star game, as you mentioned before. They're coming off of a 1-1 draw to Vancouver here at Snapdragon Stadium, part of 3 games in a row that play MLS regular season games at Snapdragon. They play Nashville tonight, and then coming up in not too long a time, it will be Pachuca in the Leagues Cup competition. This is an interesting stretch for San Diego FC right now.
Yeah, especially given the fact that you had such an incredible representation at MLS All-Star. Not to say that is necessarily a bad thing, but the fact of the matter is you had a game just 48 hours before guys like Anders, Chucky, Yepe had to get on a flight from San Diego International to make their way to Austin. They played in that game, and I believe actually, all 3 started, or at least got significant playing time in that MLS All-Star game, only to come back to San Diego and have to get ready to play one of the best teams in MLS. But same thing goes for Nashville SC. So we'll see minutes-wise what that does for that game. But, yeah, just as you said, if we're taking a look at the overall chapter, this is really going to put Tyler Heaps to the test in terms of the chief soccer officer for San Diego FC. What type of business is he going to do in the transfer window, which is now open? And if we're going to see San Diego FC add any pieces, especially in the midfield, because that's what they're going to need when you're talking about Leagues Cup. This is a single table format, meaning that, unlike in the World Cup where you have groups A through D or whatever the amount of teams are, you have everyone in the same table. And so you're competing against everyone in the tournament. So it puts a lot more stress on what the actual group stage games mean. So you add that with a very, very brutal August and September as you go into October for the final month of the season. We're really going to see what the San Diego SC team is made of and exactly how well has this team been built from the ground up, and see if they could actually be in a playoff position and make something shake when we start talking about MLS Cup playoffs in October.
San Diego SC currently the best team in the Western Conference. They got Vancouver by a point right now with 43 points in the table. Vancouver's got 42. And tonight's opponent, Nashville, a team that you had covered in the past and are familiar with, they sit at number 2 in the Eastern Conference at 47 points. What can you tell us about Nashville SC tonight against San Diego FC?
So Nashville SC is one of those teams that started off strong just like San Diego has, but hit a really rough 2024. And what they did to solve a pretty down year was they got younger. They obviously Anibal Godoy made his way from Nashville SC to San Diego, but now Nashville SC has a couple of guys who I really do rate. Edvard Tagseth, he's 24-year-old central midfielder from Norway. He's been a pivotal starter in central midfield alongside Gaston Brugman, who won MLS Cup with LA Galaxy just last year. And so that is a tandem that helps protect a pretty strong center back pairing. Walker Zimmerman, who has been a captain for the U.S. men's national team in the past, has been a multi-time All-Star. He partners with Jason Palacios. Both of those guys are in their early 30s, but very strong. I think Walker's, 6'3". Jason's about 6'1", but very strong in the air. But up front, as we talked about, Hani Mukhtar and Sam Surge, both of these guys are incredible on the counter. Sam Surge scored the game-winning goal against Toronto going into the MLS All-Star break. So I think with Ian Pilcher and Chris McVeigh, it's going to be a test to see how they can handle Hani and Sam Surge. I think that's the battle to look at tonight at Snapdragon is you're looking at Hani Mukhtar, Sam Surge versus Chris McVeigh, Ian Pilcher, whoever starts in that center back pairing. That's what to watch out for tonight.
Talking with Drake Hills as he comes on each and every Friday to discuss our Soccer 101. Contributing writer for Black Players for Change, has covered MLS for many years now, as well as soccer internationally. And talking about this San Diego FC team, obviously a couple of weeks ago with Milan Izlowski having to go back to his parent club, and we briefly talked about this. It opened up relatively a hole that was filled by Izlowski for a while on the offensive side, and scoring goals. And San Diego FC since then, not necessarily putting up the same kind of offensive numbers. That being said, they have also played against pretty good competition. But how is the offense going to look like for San Diego FC moving forward?
That's a good question, Braden. I think it kind of remains to be seen. If we're looking at a San Diego FC team, I mentioned Ian. He's the one who scored the goal to make sure that they kept the point against Vancouver last Saturday. So you had a center back, you had a defender, and especially a young one, a guy, a rookie coming from Charlotte in the college game. But we haven't. Well, I guess we could say that Chucky and Anders are right there, right? But you still need a third guy that can, like Milan Izlowski, that can show up. And if Anders out of the lineup or Chucky's out of the lineup, or God forbid there are any injuries, you need a third guy to step up. So we don't know who that is. But again, let's not ignore the fact that Chucky and Anders have been holding down the fort. There's a reason why those two were MLS All-Stars. Teverskov, as I mentioned, leads the league in touches, which means he creates the action, right? He's the one who controls the tempo of the game from the midfield and allows Anders and Chucky to make those runs. So I think it remains to be seen who Anders and Chucky can link up with. A lot of times it could be from set pieces, and you might see Chris McVeigh on a header. You might see Ian Pilcher. You might see Jeppe Teverskov. So you don't actually know what you might get. But what I can say is the reality is that this team has proven that they're going to score goals from wherever and however. And when they do score multiple goals, I think of the Houston game, that 4-3 thriller loss at home earlier this month, is really the only game where you're scoring multiple goals and actually taking a loss. I mean, when San Diego FC scores 2 goals or more, if my memory serves me correctly, they've only lost that one game. Well, I think maybe the Colorado game back in April. So the reality is San Diego FC scores a lot of goals, and if they continue to do that, then they'll be very successful going in the fall.
Last thing for you, Drake, you mentioned the transfer window opening up here. What can you do or how can you explain for the non-soccer fans how the transfer window is, as we obviously in the baseball world are getting ready for the trade deadline?
Yeah, so in soccer in general, right, you usually have 2 transfer windows. And so one is usually in the thick of the summer, which we're in now, and then you also have one in the winter, which basically is at the start of the calendar year. But for MLS, you have the 2 specific ones. The first one is the primary transfer window. That takes you from the 31st of January to the 23rd of April. Now, it fluctuates season to season, but the secondary transfer window is actually what we're in now. It actually just started yesterday. So it's the 24th of July to the 21st of August. And particularly what has happened is in the summers when you get a lot of international talent, because that is when a lot of other leagues and other federations are also aligned with their transfer windows. And this transfer window concept essentially means that players during this window are exclusively allowed to move from club to club. The only reason why that they would be able to move outside of that is if they're a free agent. So in this window, San Diego FC has the opportunity to not only make trades with other MLS teams, but you have the opportunity to sign international players pending what we call an international transfer certificate, which is essentially allows a player to play in a new country, hence the international transfer. But this is big business, Braden, because by September 12th, that's where the roster has to be frozen, going into the end of the season and eventually into the playoffs. So, as I said, Tyler Heaps, the general manager, chief soccer officer for San Diego SC, this is a pretty big and important time, a very busy time. And we'll see if that means, some more talent in the midfield. That could be a center forward, someone to partner with Chucky Lozano and Anders Dreyer up front. But who knows? It remains to be seen. It's still very early.
I did say last thing, but I remember this came up this week. MLS is thinking about potentially flipping their schedule to go in line with the European schedules, playing more of a fall-winter schedule than a spring-summer schedule. How close is this potentially to coming to reality? What is Major League Soccer ownership groups thinking about this, and what's your opinion on the matter?
Yeah, I'll go first order. My opinion is I think logistically this can be an extreme nightmare, not because of, simply because of weather. I'm thinking more of the fact that a lot of sports fans don't really understand that a lot of these clubs are actually also owned and operated by NFL owners or NBA owners, or sometimes even both. Case in point, the Hunt family that owns the Chiefs. They obviously owned FC Dallas, but if you look at some other teams that have facility conflicts, like the Blank family and Arthur Blank, who owns the Atlanta Falcons. He also owns Atlanta United, and those two teams play in the same stadium. So you put in Braden's beloved college football, you bring in the Falcons, and you bring in Atlanta United, all trying to share turf time. And that creates a little bit of a scheduling conflict on that front as well. So it's not necessarily a serious opposition, but I just don't know how that would work, especially when you have owners across multiple sports like Arthur Blank. Now, in terms of owners, I think that this can mean good business, and where you're consecutively owning and operating events in that stadium to create more money, to create more revenue. I think a lot of owners would be open to it. Because the reality is that everyone knows that summertime is for concerts. And a lot of these venues like Mercedes-Benz, or whether it be Bank of California in Inglewood, a lot of these stadiums, I mean, they can produce that. So I'm not quite sure what the majority of owners think, but I do think a lot of them who have that type of opportunity would relish that. Now, in terms of the league and the accuracy of this report. There definitely is accuracy and there definitely is validity to it. But as far as how far along they are, it's still very much in the ideation phase. Now, what does this actually look like for the league? What does this mean for the Leagues Cup and the tournaments that MLS teams play in, not just domestically, but also continental tournaments with other federations in Canada, Jamaica, Costa Rica, like the CONCACAF Champions Cup, for example. So we'll see what that means. I think that this probably won't take in place until after the World Cup next summer, maybe going into the 2027 and 2028 seasons. But again, I think there's a lot to be done, and I don't necessarily think that this means success or an improved league just because you're aligning with other international leagues.
Drake, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to seeing you down at Snapdragon tonight.
Yeah, I'll tap in and make sure I say hey to you guys in the press box. But make sure you get me a T-shirt, size large, the Braden Surprenant Show.
I got you, Drake. I'll have it for you tonight.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thanks again to Drake Hills joining us on the Braden Surprenant Show. He joins us each and every Friday for a Soccer 101 segment. Really appreciate his time. Wealth of knowledge to help us out with MLS and everything in the soccer world. I do want to show this real quick. I'll present it on my site here, Frank. The hats that you'll see this weekend for Major League Baseball, as we get rid of the deal here. They are the Hall of Fame weekend hats in MLB. There you go. And these are the hats that you'll see all weekend. The Padres are wearing some slick throwback hats, the ones with the yellow front and brown around the bill and around the rest of the hat with the brown SD in front. We're watching the Brewers and Marlins game. They got the Florida Marlins lids this weekend, which I think are really nice. And it's a cool little throwback weekend in terms of the hats. Obviously, with the Hall of Fame patch on the side, with the Hall of Fame weekend being this weekend, I'm sure it's definitely in play for trying to sell some more hats. But a lot of these are pretty cool, Frank.
No, they look fantastic, and I love seeing these old throwback things come about, especially like you're seeing the old Florida Marlins hat, you're seeing like the old Astros hat, the one that I grew up with, at least. Looking through,
the Twins one is cool from like
I like the Orioles
Big League.
The Orioles hat as well
with the bird on there.
Got the D-Rays for Tampa Bay, so that's I love seeing some of this old stuff.
Cardinals got the red bird on there, which is cool. Some of them are kind of lame, like the Angels. I mean, the Angels could have had such a cooler hat.
Angels should have went with their Disney,
their Halo.
Yeah, no,
hats. The California Angel logo would be sick.
No, the Disney, like the early 2000s hat.
Oh,
that
like the one with
nice.
the wings on the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those have been nice. I mean, anything, but they just have the regular hat. That's super lame. Rockies have never changed their hat. Neither of the Mets, Yankees, or Red Sox. I think.
Well, no, the
Mets.
Mets.
May be different.
The Mets do have like it's a smaller, more spread out NY. It's not the same NY that you see today.
The Brewers are wearing the helmets too, which is kind of cool.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you'll see that this weekend. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Thanks again for tuning in to the Braden Surprenant Show each and every day this week. We really appreciate it. We'll talk to you guys on Monday. Hopefully, maybe some trades happen this weekend. Quinn and Chris coming up next.